Forward. The SCP Foundation has discovered a substantial number of items which are simply too useless to merit further attention. This document lists those items which have prompted some curiosity. It may be used as a resource should knowledge of these items become useful or necessary in the future. Dr. Redacted. Head of Research Site Redacted. This is the third volume of the log. Access to the first and second volume of the log can be found here and here, respectively. Item description: a 3x3x3 Rubik's Cube which cannot be solved. After any attempted turn, the cube will revert itself back to its original scrambled state, rendering any attempts to solve or otherwise alter the state of the cube entirely futile. Date of recovery: August 5th, 1987. Location of recovery: in Data Redacted near Bucharest, Romania. Current status: in storage. Notes: ever since he figured out how to solve it, SCP-049 has been fascinated by the normal Rubik's Cube. Some jokester suggested we give 049 this little bugger to try to solve. Bad idea. Dr. Redacted. March 11th, 1989. Item description: a broken ceiling tile in the cafeteria of Site-88. Even if deprived of sight or any means of observing it, any individual entering the room will be instantly aware of the tile and its broken state, generally resulting in mild discomfort. Date of recovery: June 12, 1998. Location of recovery: Site-88, Baldwin County, Indiana. Current status: still residing in the Site-88 cafeteria. Notes: hey, I tried my best. Repairman Belmont, June 15, 1998. Item description: a blank, hard-covered book filled with seemingly random English text. After reading one page in its entirety, the reader will be unable to identify which page they are reading after that and flip back to page 1, where the same effect will occur indefinitely until the book is taken away by another person. Date of recovery: Redacted, year 2004. Location of recovery: the Wren Library in the hands of a 22-year-old man who had been missing for 3 days. Current status: in storage. Item description: a small ceramic jar that damages any items put inside of it. Level of damage varies, however. Marks on damaged objects resemble those made by a large axe, despite the jar being too small to contain such a weapon. Date of recovery: Redacted, year 2011. Location of recovery: Shanghai, China. Current status: was used to shred documents in Dr. Redacted's office. Is currently in storage. Item description: a standard school chair. Anomalous properties manifest when no personnel are within a 12-meter radius. The item will move about 5 meters every 4 minutes. Pressure sensors have indicated it moves at about 20 kilometers per hour. Date of recovery: August 1st, year 2000, Redacted. Location of recovery: Redacted, Portugal. Current status: Site-19 Anomalous storage. Item description: a white table lamp that appears similar to the Pixar lamp made by Lotus Robotics. When shown anything that depicts the letter I within 1.5 meters of itself, it will destroy the eye and replace the eye with itself. This can include physically crushing the eye and replacing it, or drawing itself in after erasing it. It randomly turns itself on and off. It also appears to have the intelligence of a 10-year-old child and will try to help people out. Date of recovery: October 4th, 2019. Location of recovery: it was bought by Dr. Redacted for his office. It was then that he found out about the anomalous properties. Current status: in a large office area of Site Redacted. Item description: multi-passcode locker in Sector Redacted A. When the passcode Redacted is entered, a large colony of ants will exit the locker. No anomalous activity has occurred when different passwords were employed. Date of recovery: December 9th, year Redacted. Location of recovery: Site-19 Weapons Testing Facility. Current status: uninstalled and used to generate food for entomophagous anomalies. Item description: an extremely long picture frame that displays the entire extended family tree of the person that's viewing it. Displays the entire family, dead or alive. Date of recovery: September 1st, 2002. Location of recovery: Art Gallery in Memphis, Tennessee. Current status: displayed at Site Redacted's entrance, captioned with, "Think of who came before." Notes: I swear, John needs to stop saying he's related to George Washington, as if anyone's going to believe him. Item description: a paper copy of H.P. Lovecraft's short story, The Call of Cthulhu, with an image of Cthulhu sitting and looking at a rock at the bottom of the paper. When read silently, The reader will hear chanting in an unknown language, and a small rock, the exact minerals vary, will appear in the left hand of the reader. When read to another person, both will hear the chanting, and a small rock will appear above the heads of both people before falling on them. Date of recovery, September 11th, 2020. Location of recovery, a Barnes & Noble bookshop in Redacted, Texas. The story had been ripped out of the book it was in and was hidden under a table. The location of the rest of the book is unknown. Current status, in a storeroom at Site Redacted. Notes. Reading the story to new employees so you can see them have a rock fall on their head is not the kind of testing we need to be doing, Dr. Bright. Dr. Field. Item description. A foam toy sword that, when used to attack a living animal, has the effect of a real sword. Date of recovery, March 12th, 2010. Location of recovery, Walmart in Orville, California. Current status, kept in Site 19. Item description. A standard metal foldable chair that is non-anomalous until a person tries to sit down. Object will slide back approximately 5 feet once a person's buttocks are 3 inches from the seat. Date of recovery, April 9th, 2020. Location of recovery, the O'Dooley family reunion in Redacted, Minnesota. Current status, in the break room of Site 18. Note, this was funny at first, but it's getting old quick. I'm requesting it to be moved to Site Redacted. Researcher Janus. Request denied. Director Redacted. Item description. A taxidermy of what appears to be a creature of similar genetic makeup to SCP-682. Has various pressure pads in different places beneath its skin, which play an audio file of a voice similar to SCP-682's, saying various encouraging and/or positive phrases. The taxidermy's skin cannot be broken, and the source of the audio files is unknown. SCP-682 has not been informed of this anomaly's existence. Date of recovery, April 21st, 2020. Location of recovery, the holding cell of D95538, who had been assigned to SCP-682 testing the following day. D95538 claimed that the taxidermy was there when he arrived, despite the guards tasked with escorting him to his cell having no recollection of seeing it. Current status, the medbay of Site Redacted, reserved for personnel suffering exacerbated mental illness/emotional complications. Note, it has been deduced based on preliminary testing that the audio files are not pre-recorded. Current tally of unique audio files observed, 751. Item description. A coffee mug with the word Joe written onto it with permanent marker. When drinking any liquid out of the mug, a sentence in the fashion of a typical Yo Mama joke is heard. Date of recovery, October 22nd, 2019. Location of recovery, a pawn shop in Redacted, Washington. Current status, in the office of Dr. Davis at Site Redacted. Item description, a series of 12 Acer brand computer screens that reproduce random paintings by American abstract artist Jackson Pollock out of broken glass when damaged. Repairing the screen and damaging it again produces a different painting. 3 screens out of 12 remain intact as of Redacted Year 20 Redacted. They are presumed to have the same anomalous properties. Date of recovery, May 6th, 2020. Location of recovery, a computer store in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Current status, in storage. Item description, an elevator that propels itself upwards at an abnormally high velocity when any of the 4 buttons on its interior side are pressed, despite possessing no apparent means to do so. Date of recovery, May 7th, 2020. Location of recovery, a supermarket in Redacted, France. Current status, destroyed after 6th test. Note, how the Redacted? Did you forget to put the Redacted ing mattress, Phillips? Redacted thing could have gotten an actual classification if it didn't break because of you. Item description, a black rectangle made of unknown composition with the inscription Redacted. Note, the word redacted in brackets is actually written on it and is not an authentic act of redaction on the Foundation's part. On it, which, no matter the position of the person viewing it, always displays itself as if they were directly in front of the item. Seems to be 2-dimensional as opposed to the standard 3 dimensions. Date of recovery, May 8th, 2020. Location of recovery, a candy shop named Conifer's Confidential Confiserie that sold various CIA, Redacted, and Foundation-themed foods. Dismantled by the Foundation on Redacted, Year 20 Redacted. after it was identified as a security breach. Current status: hung above Dr. Roosevelt's office. Note: what? I think it's pretty funny. Item description: a red bath towel, slightly faded due to prolonged exposure to sunlight. When worn around the neck of a human subject in the manner of a cape, the subject believes him or herself capable of flight. Affected subjects often display strong desires to jump from high places in order to demonstrate this ability. Date of recovery: November 5th, 2020. Location of recovery: redacted toy store, Clifton, Ireland. Current status: in storage. Note: wearing this item does not actually confer the power of flight. Affected subjects should not be unobserved until the item has been removed to prevent them from causing themselves accidental injury. Item description: a Duracell brand 312 hearing aid battery, capable of holding up to 40 AH and outputting a maximum of 12V 400A. It is also capable of being charged using a standard car battery charger. Date of recovery: May 13th, 2020. Location of recovery: blister packaged on a shelf used for holding batteries at a car wash in Redacted, Ohio. Current status: in Dr. Redacted's car battery compartment. Note: despite being chargeable and usable as a car battery, due to the small size of the item, both Dr. Redacted's car battery compartment and charger have been modified. Item description: a standard wooden garden rake that causes all sapient beings in a 10-meter range around it to be compelled to step on its teeth, receiving the handle in the face or equivalent of such at a high velocity. Doing so permanently inoculates the affected individual to the item's effects, but also acts as a short-range amnestic, as subjects express surprise when hit by the handle and are unable to identify its anomalous properties, sincerely believing they stepped on the teeth by accident. Date of recovery: May 16th, 2020. Location of recovery: spontaneously manifested in a hallway on site Redacted. Recovered after an estimated 23 personnel members were exposed to its effects during an SCP Redacted containment breach, significantly slowing down the handling of the breach and causing the death of Redacted personnel. Current status: suspended 15 meters above the ground in an open-air storage compartment on site Redacted. Item description: a pair of plastic breasts of the kind sold as gag gifts, manufacturer unknown. When being observed by a human, the object breaks the observer's train of thought, compelling them to consider their biases related to women. The effect ceases simultaneously with cessation of viewing, but the subject can continue to explore the same line of thought afterwards. Date of recovery: October 31st, 1968. Location of recovery: household of Redacted, Los Angeles, California. Current status: kept in a drawer in the office of Redacted, Site 19's head relationship psychologist, for use in resolving or preventing conflicts between staff stemming from staff members' biases towards women. May be transferred to other sites per request with Redacted's approval. Item description and current status. So, we've got a feline humanoid containment cell that can only be described using informal vernacular. You can't talk about him using any sort of upper crust clinical terminology, in other words. The guy himself doesn't seem to know that he's an anomaly. Old Dr. Uman wants to feed him amnestics and let him go, considering that he's not a threat to normalcy or anything. Date of recovery: we got him back on May 30th, 2020. Location of recovery: down in the city near... Actually, we can't tell you any of that considering that it's top secret or something. Item description: a collection of 17 miniature horse figurines. When placed inside any mobile vehicle, the automobile will anomalously be able to reach speeds of Mach 14. The property is present regardless of the vehicle's functionality or condition. Date of recovery: June 9th, 2020. Location of recovery: Burnet County Rodeo Arena, Burnet, Texas, USA. Current status: 2 instances were destroyed during retrieval. The remaining 15 are in storage. Item description: 997 and counting. New episodes of Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting. These videos are entirely non-anomalous except for the fact that Bob Ross has been deceased for 25 years, and these episodes were made after his death. Evidence suggests that these episodes are made by Bob Ross and are broadcasted from Corbenic. Date of recovery: ongoing. Location of recovery: each episode will randomly replace an advertisement slot of sufficient length on the Redacted network. A Foundation bot has been installed to reroute these episodes to the Foundation database and fill the empty time slot with the original programming. Current status: Currently available to all Foundation staff to increase morale. Painting supplies are available in the break room at site Redacted for use during breaks. Note: on Redacted, an episode was rerouted into the Foundation database and reviewed as per procedure, but instead of starting in usual fashion, Bob Ross said the following: "Hello to my friends at the SCP Foundation. While I am sad you won't let me continue painting for the world, I understand why, and I am happy that my show will continue to bring joy to members of the Foundation, and even someone as important as O5 Redacted. With all of that out of the way, I'd like to thank you all for joining me here this week. If this is your first time watching The Joy of Painting, I'd like to extend a personal invitation for you to pull out your paints and join me for a relaxing half hour of painting. And I'll show you just how easy it is to make some of the most beautiful art you've ever seen." Episode continued as usual except for the painting, which was later confirmed to be a depiction of SCP-354. Item description: a shipment of 12 redacted brand acoustic guitars exhibiting the anomalous property that each of the guitar strings will not stop vibrating until manually stopped by use of a person's finger, and that none of the parts can be damaged. Use of dead or non-biological material will not stop the vibration of the strings, and despite their immunity to damage, the parts still exhibit identical microscopic structures and properties as the materials of the original guitar models. The anomalous properties of the shipment are only exhibited if the original guitars from the shipment contain all of their original parts. Date of recovery: August 12, 2016. Location of recovery: a Costco store located in Redacted, Arizona. Current status: 11 in storage, 1 in the office of Dr. Redacted. Item description: a Redacted brand refracting telescope that, when looked through, will rotate to point toward the nearest blue giant-type star at a speed of approximately 6 rpm from the center of mass of the telescope. Date of recovery: June 25, 2018. Location of recovery: a pawn shop located in Redacted, California. Current status: in storage. Item description: a formerly 0.76, currently 0.53 meter branch from a birch Betula papyrifera tree that, when held with 2 hands and swung against another material, will exhibit the properties of a bladed weapon, cutting cleanly through the object. No physical changes to the branch are noted to happen when the anomalous properties activate. During a test where the branch was held with 1 hand, 0.26 meters of the branch snapped off from impact force. The end that snapped off was found to be non-anomalous and incinerated afterwards. Date of recovery: February 11, 2016. Location of recovery: Redacted, British Columbia, Canada. Current status: in storage. Item description: an otherwise mundane member of the species Homerus americanus, American lobster, that will enter a state of hibernation if the material surrounding it is at a temperature below 100 degrees Celsius. It has been shown that the lobster can survive temperatures of at least 3,422 degrees Celsius, although further testing is required. Additionally, the specimen does not require food or water in order to survive, and does not appear to undergo the molting process common in others of its species. Date of recovery: June 17, 2020. Location of recovery: off the coast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. Current status: in storage. Item description: a white lined piece of writing paper, size A4, that, when touched, records every action said person takes for 24 hours. After a day, the information written on the paper disappears and the process can start over again. The paper takes no effect if it has been touched already within the last 24 hours. Date of recovery: October 30th, 2001. Location of recovery: an elementary school classroom in Redacted, used for a student's English assignment. Current status: currently laying on Dr. Glass's desk at site Redacted. Item description: a large red button with the text Regicide written on it in white. When pressed, a pre-recorded voice stating, "That was Regicide," plays, and the highest authority figure in a 30-kilometer radius dies. Date of recovery: September 28, 1978. Location of recovery: Vatican City, Rome. Current status: Redacted. Item description: a handmade moonshine still. Any liquid placed within the still, when boiled, will be transformed into pure ethanol vapor. Once condensed within the still, the vapor will transform into a liquid identical to moonshine-style liquor. Date of recovery: March 31st, 1954. Location of recovery: a rural shack in Henderson, West Virginia, USA, following massive amounts of moonshine suddenly being disseminated among the local populace. Current status: in storage. Item description: a label maker that has an infinite supply of paper. Date of recovery: May 10th, 2008. Location of recovery: an office in Redacted, Tennessee. Current status: being used by Site Redacted's scientific department for labels. Quote, Kodorov keeps changing the font on the label maker stop. Site Redacted Management. Item description: a mirror in which the reflected image shows the true orientation of the subject rather than a flipped image. Date of recovery: November 25th, 2017. Location of recovery: Redacted, England. Current status: in storage. Item description: a 5-tasseled dream collector constructed from an ashwood frame and beads, flax twine, and barred owl feathers. When affixed to the wall of a room, all sleeping occupants will fail to enter stages of rapid eye movement or express periodic limb movement disorder, PLMD, or restless leg syndrome, RLS. Date of recovery: July 31st, 2020. Location of recovery: a bedroom in rural, Redacted, California. Current status: in Site 77 Honorology Studies storage. Item description: a small plastic sword exactly 10 inches long with a plastic handle. When held, an entity resembling King Arthur will manifest exactly 5 feet away from the individual who holds the object in question. Date of recovery: February 15th, 2020. Location of recovery: Redacted, England. Current status: in Site 19 Unknown/Unexplained Objects storage. Item description: a collection of kitchen equipment. Set includes pans, pots, cutlery, rolling pins, tongs, etc. Any person within a 4-meter radius of the set will change visual perspective to that of a bird's eye view of the kitchen a la tasty instruction videos. Anomaly appears to follow majority of set. Removing a single piece from the set does not bring the anomalous effect with said single piece. Effect wears off when walking away from set. No adverse effects to user besides mild disorientation. Outside observers have noted no change in behavior or physicality of users while interacting with the set. Date of recovery: July 14th, 2018. Location of recovery: Redacted, Bistro, Nashville, Tennessee. Current status: in Site 47 kitchen. Item description: a Redacted brand portable music player. Initials GJ inscribed on the back in permanent black marker. If used to play any MP3 file containing a piece of music, the device will make demeaning remarks about the user's music taste in an unidentified male voice with a smug tone upon the conclusion of the piece or whenever it is paused by the user. If any attempt is made to play a file in a lossless format, the device will fail to play the file, and with the same voice proceeding to go on a long, expletive-filled rant scolding the user for being a, quote, pretentious audiophile, unquote, in a noticeably angry tone. Recorded rant lengths range from 5 minutes to 6.5 hours. No anomalous effects will manifest if used to play an MP3 file containing anything other than music. Date of recovery: August 25th, 2019. Location of recovery: Redacted used electronics store in Laredo, Texas. Purchased by Dr. Fernan, prompting the discovery of its anomalous effects. Current status: formerly in Dr. Fernand's office, currently in Site 38 Standard Item Containment. Note: at first I was happy to have a new MP3 player, but the damn thing was driving me crazy. Dr. Fernan. Item description: a brown leather wallet that holds 1 penny. If the penny is removed from the wallet for more than 2 minutes, it will teleport back into the wallet. All other currency placed within the wallet is unaffected, including other pennies. Date of recovery: August 10th, 2020. Location of recovery: found on the body of Agent Redacted, who was killed while containing SCP Redacted. Current status: placed in light containment at Site 73. A memorial to Agent Redacted has been installed in the break room at Site 73. Item description: the corpse of a brown rat with a pair of wings attached to its back. The wings have DNA similar to that of a European herring gull, but are completely vestigial, containing nothing but skin and fat. The wings are completely naturally attached to the body, but a beak, also similar to that of a herring gull, has been attached to its snout via superglue. A note tagged via string around the carcass tail reads, "Rat with wings." Date of recovery: August 13th, 2020. Location of recovery: basement of an abandoned house in Redacted. Current status: placed in cryogenic storage at Site Redacted. Item description: a copper doorknob that, when placed against any vertical surface, forms a 6-foot 8-inch door in the wall. When removed, the anomalous door dissipates. If the door is open when the item is removed, The part of the wall making up the door will remove itself from the wall it was once a part of. Date of recovery, March 14th, 1993. Location of recovery, found in possession of D redacted while attempting to escape from site redacted. Current status, in storage. Item description, a drinking glass that automatically refills with what appears to be water but is actually dog urine. Date of recovery, December 21st, 2019. Location of recovery, confiscated from junior researcher bar and cafeteria of site redacted, where he was apparently attempting to use it for a prank. Bar has been severely reprimanded. Current status, in storage. Item description, a virtual reality gaming headset of independent make with one video game pre-installed and no possibility of importing other games. While the item is placed on a person's head and turned on, the subject is unable to vocalize voluntarily and is forced to intermittently vocalize a number of different phrases and exclamations shared by all subjects. The most common phrases include, "I'm gaming," "So this is immersion," and "I've never really lived before." These vocalizations gradually increase in enthusiasm and become less articulated, culminating in wordless screaming. Subjects have described the video game installed on the object as an endless dishwashing cutscene where you can look around. Date of recovery, July 14th, 2019. Location of recovery, offices of Redacted, an independent game studio in Dallas, Texas. Owner and employees consistently claimed they made the most exciting video game of all time, citing testers' reactions, and appeared to possess no knowledge of the item's anomalous properties or the game's nature. Current status, stored in a standard containment locker at Site 129. Item description, explain how this 20 redacted HSC English Advanced Common Module paper causes the writer to write any information about it in the form of a short answer question, 2 marks. Date of recovery, what occurred on the day of December 11th, 2019, 1 mark. Location of recovery, discuss the effectiveness of the Foundation's method of recovery of this 20 redacted HSC English Advanced Common Module paper from the NSW Education Standards Database, 3 marks. Current status, evaluate how effective the containment of this 20 redacted HSC English Advanced Common Module paper is in a filing cabinet in Site Redacted, whilst also replacing the paper on the NSW Education Standards website with a non-anomalous version of the paper. Include examples of other containment procedures of similar objects, 4 marks. Item description, a ticket, front row, slightly left of center, for a concert in Redacted, Oregon, occurring on September 3rd, 2020. The band mentioned on the ticket, a small local group, was not playing in any location on that date. In fact, there was no concert taking place in town on that date. Despite this fact, those viewing the ticket often mentioned vague memories of the concert, often sharing interesting stories if multiple people view the item simultaneously. Date of recovery, September 9th, 2020. Location of recovery, found on a bench at a bus stop in Portland, Oregon. Current status, being tested, in hopes of piecing together a coherent account of the non-existent event. Item description, a spherical object that 50% of humans perceive as a bowling ball and the other 50% perceive as a red rubber dodgeball. When interacted with, the object takes on the physical properties of whichever type of ball the subject perceives it as, until it is touched by another subject. Date of recovery, redacted, year 2009. Location of recovery, redacted, Virginia. Current status, punctured during a test, remains placed in storage. Note, I wish I was one of the ones who saw it as a bowling ball. I'm told that it looks cool in a deflated shape. Dr. Norms. Item description, a washing machine that, when used, will cause all clothing items inside of it to vanish and be replaced with a single unmatched sock. Date of recovery, June 2nd, 2014. Location of recovery, a laundromat in Redacted, Colorado. Current status, in storage at Site 17. Note, okay, which of you pranksters thought it would be funny to move this to the Botany Wing's laundry room? Researcher Aurora. Item description, cotton t-shirt, size medium, plain white coloration with a cartoon drawing of a beehive on the front. No tag or identifying information is visible. nor can signs of removal of a tag be found. When worn, causes the wearer to sneeze at random intervals between 5 minutes and 9 hours. Each sneeze produces between 3 and 17 live western honeybees. Bees produced in this fashion are not aggressive and are generally described as confused. They display no anomalous properties. Date of recovery, September 14th, 2020. Location of recovery, abandoned on a park bench in Cincinnati, Ohio. Current status, in testing. Item description, a black leather jacket and shades that, when worn in conjunction, will raise the wearer's confidence drastically. Several individuals who have worn the jacket have claimed that it made them feel cool and confident. Date of recovery, May 7th, 2012. Location of recovery, redacted supermarket, Arkansas, United States. Current status, kept within Site 473's psychiatrist office, available to site staff upon request. Item description, broomsticks similar to those seen in popular media related to witches, generally around Halloween. Despite its aged appearance, testing has revealed that the item was commercially made within the last 5 years. When a human subject attempts to ride the broom in the manner witches are generally depicted doing, the broom will allow the subjects to fly, admittedly at a relatively low speed. 20 miles per hour is the observed maximum. Date of recovery, October 31st, 2018. Location of recovery, redacted, Columbus, Ohio, United States. Current status, in low-value item storage. Item description, a plush resembling a stingray made by the Wildlife Tree brand. Item acts as a living stingray but does not breathe, eat, blink, or sleep. Item uses its pectoral and pelvic fins to propel itself through water. When removed from water, item will begin to flop around, appearing to suffocate. Date of recovery, February 10th, 2020. Location of recovery, New England Aquarium. Current status, in aquatic wildlife containment at Site 24. Note, you guys forgot to mention that I've taught the lad a few tricks. Dr. Bryan. Item description, a pair of black Bluetooth redacted brand headphones that when worn prevent the wearer from hearing anything other than the audio coming from them, if any is playing. Headphones do not appear to run out of battery, and any connected devices will display them as having 100% battery. Date of recovery, May 12th, 2017. Location of recovery, a Best Buy in redacted, Tennessee. Current status, in possession of researcher Cook to assist with her sensory processing disorder. Note, please stop connecting my headphones to your phones to play loud bass-boosted music. It wasn't funny the first time, and it's not funny now. Researcher Cook. Item description, a 2-slice toaster. Markings indicated it was manufactured by Warren Wilson's Kitchen Technologies. However, no such company is known to exist. When the toaster is used to toast formerly bread, but currently any baked goods, considerable time dilation is experienced by the user. The amount of time dilation is variable, but testing has concluded that each second in baseline time corresponds to between 5 and 10 minutes under the item's effects. Only the person who pushed the lever down experiences the time dilation. If multiple people cooperate to push down the lever, all of them will experience the anomalous effect. Date of recovery, October 10th, 2020. Location of recovery, employee break room in the back of a small, locally owned bookstore, Avalon, California. Current status, an employee break room at site redacted, for use by all personnel. Note, this thing is great when you have a lot of paperwork to catch up on. Junior Researcher Alexander. Item description, formerly 144, then 138, currently 100 containers of strawberries that have the flavor of peaches. Inside of strawberries is light orange colored instead of the standard pink, though the outside is unchanged. Date of recovery, October 13th, 2020. Location of recovery, a grocery store in redacted, Mexico. Current status, 38 containers sent out to site redacted for consumption, remaining containers in cold storage. Note, can we find a way to get more of these? They taste amazing. Dr. Jones. Item description, a vinyl copy of Amnesiac 2001 by the British art rock band Radiohead. Listening to the record in full causes one to forget the existence of the album, believing that Radiohead has only released 8 albums. Date of recovery, February 9th, 2002. Location of recovery, Winnemucca, Idaho, USA. Current status: contained at Foundation Site 64. Item description: a DVD copy of the 1997 film Good Will Hunting in its original case. If the film is viewed to the end of the bench scene, in which the character of Robin Williams gives a long speech, all viewers will be able to recite the speech verbatim if prompted, despite any pre-existing difficulties with memory. Viewers who are incapable of speech or do not speak English are unaffected. Date of recovery: October 2nd, 2020. Location of recovery: redacted media store in Indianapolis, Indiana. Current status: in the employee break room at site, redacted, with other low-level anomalous media. Item description: a redacted brand leaf blower that sucks leaves instead of blows. All other objects are blown away as expected. Location of leaves sucked are unknown and seem to disappear once leaves reach the end of the nozzle. Date of recovery: October 27th, 2019. Location of recovery: a local groundskeeping company in redacted, Georgia. Current status: formerly in-site redacted janitorial closet for use by cleaning staff. Then in storage after a falling twig with a leaf still attached was sucked up. Currently fixed after researcher Daniel Ham pulled the twig out. Note: I didn't think that would actually work. Researcher Daniel Ham. Item description: redacted brand bagless upright vacuum cleaner. Operates as expected, only the container where debris is deposited never becomes full, despite prolonged or heavy use. Testing has revealed that the container's internal dimensions are far larger than its external dimensions. The maximum capacity has not been discovered, but is believed to be in excess of redacted cubic meters. Date of recovery: October 20th, 2020. Location of recovery: warehouse believed to be used by Marshall, Carter, and Dark. Current status: being used and observed for further anomalous effects. Note: documents recovered from the warehouse suggest that Marshall, Carter, and Dark were having a difficulty finding a buyer for this item. Item description: a standard-sized redacted brand toy car. When pushed forward, it keeps moving in a straight line on the same plane of the starting point, regardless of obstacles or missing surface on its path. While moving mid-air, the car will still move as if affected by the friction of the last surface it contacted. If the trajectory ends mid-air, the car will fall only after reaching zero speed. Date of recovery: January 6th, 2003. Location of recovery: room of Dr. Redacted's son. Current status: contained in a box full of gravel and sand and anomalous item storage. Note: previously contained in a regular box. Containment method changed after visible frustration of researchers due to the object slipping under floor level when picked out for testing. Item description: a standard 5.5 meter tall step ladder. When an individual stands on the highest point of the ladder, a feeling of intense vertigo is experienced, and the user experiences a feeling of intense paranoia despite having no previous medical conditions. Date of recovery: June 17th, year redacted. Location of recovery: redacted, England. Current status: inside Site 19's low-level security storage. Notes: researchers insisted on the object being laid out flat whilst being placed into storage. The researcher's request was approved, and the object in question was laid on top of a cupboard. Item description: a step ladder, 4 meters in height. If the bottom step is used, the user will perceive the length of the ladder to be infinite, with the surroundings appearing shrouded in mist. Date of recovery: November 28th, 2015. Location of recovery: a construction market in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, United States. Current status: Site 19's storeroom. Notes: how many anomalous step ladders do we have at Site 19? Dr. Milton. Item description: a step ladder, 4.5 meters in height. When someone steps on it, the ladder will scream in pain before begging for the person using it to leave. After getting off the ladder, the subject will hear the screams of the ladder in their mind for 24 to 48 hours, along with the sound of a ladder falling every hour. Date of recovery: December 11th, 2020. Location of recovery: a Marshall, Carter, and Dark storehouse in redacted, Iowa. Due to paperwork found around the item, it appears that it was going to be sold to redacted, a well-known member of the Serpent's Hand. Current status: Site 19 storeroom. Notes: too many, Dr. Milton. Dr. O'Connor. Anomaly illustration. An interesting anomalous item. An intelligence artificial. Analysis is all in AI arrangement. Impossible acts in analysis is admonitory. Effects, incorrectness acknowledged, include Acinetobacter infection, arthritis, influenza avian, injury. Incorporation appointment, 12th of March, 2013, international. Acquisition in point, in an international airport, Iowa, America. Influence at, in an intersite arm, Iowa, America. Item description, a 1 meter by 1 meter mass of lunar rock from the moon's southern pole, non-anomalous except for the location of recovery. Date of recovery, December 2nd, 2003. Location of recovery, the moon. Current status, on the moon. Notes. I think something's gone wrong here. There's nothing anomalous about this, at all. It's just a bunch of moon rock. I even checked the lunar surface records. It's still there. Could someone bring in Reza? Dr. K saw. Item description. A human male whose appearance constitutes as a universal legal currency. Photos of the individual labeled with any amount, including nonsensical or irrational amounts, can be placed into banks, used to pay for goods and services, or converted into digital currency without suspicion. Date of recovery, November 23rd, 1988. Location of recovery, Sydney, Australia, after a family member used the anomaly to insert $750 million into their bank account. Current status, in a standard humanoid containment chamber used by the Foundation as a source of emergency income. Item description, a printed picture of a house mouse that causes anyone who views it for more than 10 seconds to enter a state of panic and climb on the nearest piece of furniture. You will recognize that it is just an image after about 2 minutes of watching the object. A speech bubble is drawn from the mouth of the mouse with a text reading, "Am I cool yet?" written in felt tip marker. Date of recovery, November 7th, 2019. Location of recovery, found in a cafe in New York City, New York. Current status, on file in Site 87's archive wing. Item description, the body of a middle-aged Caucasian male with heavy augmentation of his body, including compound eyes similar to houseflies, wings similar to fly wings, and patches of skin similar to the exoskeleton of a horsefly. Symbols tied to a local Sarkic group can be found carved into the skin of the subject's chest, forehead, and back. Date of recovery, July 23rd, 2020. Location of recovery, basement of suburban home in Redacted, Georgia. Current status, in cryostorage at site Redacted. Item description, an empty glass Coca-Cola bottle that, when noticed by a person, will immediately cause them to blow atop the bottle to create a humming noise. Subjects who do this report mild stress relief. Date of recovery, April 12th, 2019. Location of recovery, a New York City trash can. Current status, sanitized before being moved to site Redacted break room for use by staff. Note, are we sure this isn't just a regular bottle? Researcher Cook. Item description, a leather-backed yearbook with the inscription, Class of 63, a year to remember, across the front cover. Inside are 220 grayscale photos of individuals who, in current records, have never existed. If examined thoroughly, they find they feel as if they know one or multiple of the persons depicted. Most senior quotes pertain to either inside jokes or quotes from movies that have not been produced, which the reader will comment on. Date of recovery, November 22nd, 2013. Location of recovery, Dallas City Hall's Records Department. Current status, located in the psychiatric ward of Site Redacted. Note, Robert, I know you spilled your coffee on page 81. Researcher Kent Knudrum. Note, piss off, you know I have a tremor. Dr. Robert Snake Oil. Item description, a pink bar of soap that produces a mix of bright pink mist and pink soap bubbles when in contact with the water. Mist mostly consists of water vapor, and the effect is similar in appearance to that of dry ice. Inhalation of the mist is reported to have extreme calming properties. Both the soap and mist have a bubblegum scent. Date of recovery, December 14th, 2015. Location of recovery, Redacted, New Jersey. Current status: in storage. Item description: a physical print of a photograph of the British Admiral Louis Mountbatten during the Second World War. Whenever a person touches the part of the photo showing the Admiral's thighs and legs, that part of the photo will slowly turn black in around 1 to 2 minutes. After 5 or so minutes without human contact, the blackened portion will slowly return to its original grayscale coloring. It is known that Louis Mountbatten's assassination in 1979 almost severed his legs. Date of recovery: June 25, 2004. Location of recovery: redacted, United Kingdom. Current status: in storage. Item description: a stop sign that changes from its original octagonal form to a green circle with the text "Go" and a triangular yellow sign with "Wait" on it. This change occurs once every hour, changing instantaneously and regardless of if it is being viewed or not. Date of recovery: November 18th, 2020. Location of recovery: redacted. Current status: item was recovered by UIU agents and is in custody of said GOI. Sign has been replaced with a non-anomalous stop sign. Item description: a stapler that reacts violently when touched, snapping at any subject that touches it. It snaps its jaws by slamming its handle hard enough to hop towards its assailant, but not enough to activate its true function. An audible barking sound is heard from the stapler when active. Date of recovery: April 13th, 2017. Location of recovery: redacted, France. Current status: in storage. Item description: a Newton's cradle with human eyes dangling by their optic nerves in place of the pendulums. The biotic matter does not decompose, and the item behaves as it would with its typical components. A weak mimetic effect compels observers in close proximity to play with it. DNA extracted from the tissues is genetically similar but not identical to that of Dr. Greaves. Date of recovery: May 1st, 2019. Location of recovery: Dr. Greaves' office in Site 17. Current status: kept in Dr. Greaves' office in Site 17. Dr. Greaves under investigation. Note: helps me think. That's all you need to know. Dr. Greaves. Item description: a 36-gallon saltwater aquarium with heavily America-themed contents. Said contents include 3 tassel filefish, Chaetodermis penicillaris, whose coloration resembles the American flag, an unknown cnidarian that resembles the Statue of Liberty, down to a bioluminescent torch of tentacles, and a species of algae distantly related to Palmaria palmata, whose fronds resemble parchment decorated with unintelligible yet ornate writing, possibly in reference to early American legal documents like the Constitution or Articles of Confederation. Contained organisms show signs of significant genetic modification. A small sticker on the lid advertises a company labeled Global Core Patriotic Pets and mentions other tank sets with Japanese, English, and Greek themes. Low-priority investigations into Global Core Patriotic Pets and the remaining tank sets are underway. Date of recovery: March 22nd, 2015. Location of recovery: Tidal Palooza, an aquarium expo held in Boise, Idaho. Did not appear to belong to any listed attendants, with staff stating that it had appeared at an unrented space 2 hours after opening. Current status: on display in Dr. Braunmeyer's office. Item description: a German World War I leader mask type gas mask that poisons its users. When warned, the included filtering system anomalously creates chlorine atoms which covalently bond into chlorine-2. The airtight seal traps the bonded chlorine-2 molecules within the atmosphere. Symptoms of use are consistent with exposure to chlorine gas. Anomaly directly conflicts with Dalton's atomic theory and the proposal that atoms cannot be created nor destroyed. Date of recovery: May 8th, 1932. Location of recovery: historical ruins of a farm near Villebretonneau, France. Historically the location of the First and Second battles of Villebretonneau as a part of the German Spring Offensive during early 1918. The battles took place from the 30th of March to the 5th of April, 1918, and 24th of April to 27th of April, 1918. Current status: in storage. Item description: a standard basketball rack with 12 basketballs on it. The basketballs do not seem to deflate and cannot be damaged. The rack itself is likewise invincible. Whenever 12 people are in the same area as the rack, music will begin emanating from the rack itself, and each person will take a ball and proceed to perform the full song and dance number for the song Get Your Head in the Game from the Disney movie High School Musical. Lack of prior knowledge of the song or movie and lack of required skills have no effect on the performance. Date of recovery: March 7th, 2020. Location of recovery: East High School in Salt Lake City, Utah. Current status: in the Site 19 gymnasium for recreational purposes. The object has been clearly labeled to avoid being confused with a normal rack. Item description: an average-looking Anaxyrus americanus. When any human is within 3 feet of it, they will have an unstoppable compulsion to yell, "Toad," and will attempt to pet the entity. Date of recovery: February 5th, 2020. Location of recovery: Dr. Field's personal residence. Current status: it is kept at Site Redacted in Dr. Field's room. Additional notes: don't see why they feel the need to write anything about my Bulgard, but as long as I get to keep him, I could care less. Dr. Field. Item description: a storage box labeled Big Rabbit, containing a Flemish giant rabbit, Ornithologus cuniculus domesticus. While kept in the box, the rabbit is inanimate, as though kept in a state of cryptobiosis. Testing indicates the animal is 17 years old. Date of recovery: November 1st, 2020. Location of recovery: left behind by a former tenant in researcher Redacted's new house in Spokane, Washington. Current status: rabbit kept in box, in storage. Item description: a CD containing 12 covers of Led Zeppelin's song Stairway to Heaven, recorded by musical artists Aborted, Cattle Decapitation, Cradle of Filth, Necrophagia, Cannibal Corpse, Rotting Christ, Dissection, Data Expunged, Dying Fetus, Deicide, Impaled Nazarene, and Neil Diamond. Both the disc and disc cases are unlabeled, save for the word Stairs, written with black Sharpie on the disc. All performances perfectly match the sound and style of the artist in question as far as digital analysis and trained listeners can determine, despite that fact that, as far as it is known, none were ever actually recorded. Date of recovery: December 4th, 2020. Location of recovery: Vertical House Records in Huntsville, Alabama. Current status: in Dr. Lee Roy Carlson's car. Additional notes: hit me up and I'll bring you a copy. Dr. Lee Roy Carlson. Item description: a 52-card set of Bicycle standard index playing cards that, when performing the pick a card any card style magic trick, always results in the chosen card being a 7.5 of spades, which otherwise does not appear in the deck. If this card is removed from the deck itself will still have 52 cards, which should be impossible. Said card disappears after being placed back into the deck until the trick is performed again. If the card is not returned to the deck and the trick is performed again, it will create yet another 7.5 of spades. Date of recovery: March 20th, year redacted. Location of recovery: Redacted Hotel and Casino, Las Vegas, Nevada. Current status: in storage. Note: it was funny the first time, it was funny the second time, but now I don't want to see another 7.5 of spades again. Please stop dropping these cards in my office. Dr. Laz. Item description: a pack of Cards Against Humanity, which consists of mainly political/controversial cards. When a game is played, on the third round, an argument between all players will break out. Arguments typically last between 5 to 30 minutes and may go on longer if a conclusion is not made. Date of recovery: July 28th, year redacted. Location of recovery: Wellington, Florida. Current status: in storage. Note: maybe arguments wouldn't happen so frequently if Karen doesn't keep participating in the tests. I'm aware she is the one who conducts all the tests, but she keeps starting the arguments and it's always something about redacted or redacted. Dr. Kyle. Note: a test with Dr. Kyle's suggestions is currently underway. Site director redacted. Note: well, please remind me to keep Karen in the tests. The arguments made by my fellow colleagues were extremely violent and rapidly went out of control. Don't think we'll need more arguments about Mark Zuckerberg being a lizard overlord or not, because the clear answer is a yes, and we do not need to inquire about it again. Dr. Kyle. Item description: a kneaded eraser that, when touching any paper material, causes it to spontaneously combust without damaging the paper itself. Anything in the vicinity of the paper is not protected. The two closest pencils to the object consistently begin pointing at it when not under direct observation. Date of recovery: December 5th, 2020. Location of recovery: Grand Prairie, Texas. Current status: in Site 2's special containment lockers. Item description: Junior researcher Alexis Somerton, who has a brief, usually lasting no more than 20 seconds, attack of the hiccups whenever any word containing the letter Q is said aloud in her vicinity. It was initially believed to be a coincidence, but experimentation on the part of several colleagues has confirmed this effect to be anomalous, if harmless. Date of recovery: December 8th, 2020. Location of recovery: Site 77. Current status: still employed at Site 77. Note: still not sure this belongs in this log, but she told me to write it up and put it here. Researcher Stevens. Item description: a 1998 Ford F-150 pickup truck. Radar guns and other electronic methods of measuring the speed of the vehicle will always register the speed at approximately 32 kph slower than the actual speed traveled. Date of recovery: October 15th, 2000. Location of recovery: Interstate I-76, Nebraska. Current status: in Site 52's anomalous vehicle storage garage. Item description: a redacted brand miniature basketball. Whenever the ball is thrown at any person's head, the person takes on completely different traits such as spoken language, accent, and styles of speech. The duration of this effect commonly lasts between 5 to 20 minutes. Date of recovery: September 6th, 1998. Location of recovery: the redacted household located in redacted. Current status: currently being tested at Site 19 on intelligent wildlife such as apes and dolphins. Item description: a small plastic Christmas tree, 0.5 meters in height. When left unobserved in a locked room, it will convert any non-Christmas holiday decoration into a suitable Christmas-themed variant. Halloween pumpkins into miniature sleighs, Easter eggs into mistletoe bundles, etc. When disassembled, it still retains these properties. Date of recovery: October 15th, 21, redacted. Location of recovery: Guest researcher WT's storage unit. Current status: stored disassembled in a locked box located in low priority containment. Note: I was so mad when I found out where all my cool Halloween stuff had gone. Curse you, tiny tree, curse you. Guest researcher WT. Item description: a blank DVD-R that spins at a constant 600 RPM, or roughly the rate of playback. When placed on a surface, the object will flip upwards onto its edge and begin rolling at anywhere from 5 to 15 mph. Speed is shown to increase when attempts are made to pick up the disc, often resulting in staff chasing the object for long periods of time. Date of recovery: March 25th, 2006. Location of recovery: a subway station in Brooklyn, New York, after Dr. Redacted was alerted to the object by a nearby civilian while waiting to transit to Site Redacted. Recovered after the object became stuck in a discarded piece of chewing gum. Current status: in storage. Note: due to the late hour of travel, the civilian was the only other person present on the platform. Because of this and the harmlessness of the anomaly, the person has not been sought out for amnesticization. Item description: a golden double bell alarm clock that causes any form of time mentioned about it to show the current present time instead, regardless of what form of information is used for such expression. Date of recovery: April 13th, 2022. Location of recovery: within a train station at Gary, Indiana. Current status: in storage at Site 81. Item description: 2 ticket stubs from a Jimi Hendrix concert at the PNC Music Pavilion in Charlotte, North Carolina, that is supposed to have occurred on December 15th of 1990. Appearance and composition of the tickets is consistent with others produced by the PNC Music Pavilion at the time, and analysis estimates their age to be approximately 30 years. Date of recovery, January 4th, 2021. Location of recovery, the right hip pocket of a pair of jeans purchased from the Redacted thrift store by Leroy Carlson. Current status, framed in Dr. Leroy Carlson's office. Item description, a sheet of A4 paper which is incapable of causing a paper cut injury under any circumstances. Date of recovery, January 6th, 2021. Location of recovery, Site 23, where an agent noted its anomalous properties while working on a handwritten report draft. Investigation proved the sheet of paper to have been printed at a factory in Redacted. No other papers printed at the factory in question displayed such anomalous properties. Current status, in storage at Site 23. Item description, a school calculator with a crude drawing of a face with horns on its head, which causes the answer of any equation typed on it to be 666. Date of recovery, January 9th, 2021. Location of recovery, a elementary school in a math class where a student using it got expelled for bad behavior multiple times from Houston, United States. Current status, in storage at Site 20. Item description, a copy of Fallout New Vegas for the Xbox console, made by Bethesda Softworks. When the game is played, the player will see the game from their perspective, experiencing the game as if they were the player character. Other than that, the game will play as anticipated. Date of recovery, January 12th, 2021. Location of discovery, a home in Redacted, United States. Current status, in the break room at Site 19. Item description, a trihexaflexagon, three-faced, six-sided flexagon, paper toy that contains 360 faces instead of the expected 3. Date of recovery, January 12th, 2021. Location of discovery, Redacted farm in Texas, United States. Current status, in storage at Site 19. Item description, a bumper sticker that bears the message, "Honk if you're horny." Any individual operating a vehicle equipped with a horn will activate said horn for as long as they are able to read the message on the bumper sticker. Date of recovery, December 30th, 2020. Location of recovery, Oakland County, Michigan. Current status, in storage, Site 81, Indiana. Note, no practical use as an alarm. Anyone who's close enough to activate the effect will be visible in your rearview mirror. Researcher Robinson. Note, very well, but I'm noting that we should follow up on this when Foundation vehicles start getting tailgated by invisible cars. Researcher O'Malley. Item description, a heavy book that is 7 centimeters in height and 12 centimeters in length. Opening it at the first page causes the item to immediately flip to the final page. Starting at any page other than the first exhibits no anomalous effects, and the contents of the book itself are details pertaining to an old copy of a standardized U.S. Naval Handbook published in 1960. Date of recovery, January 17th, 2021. Location of recovery, the bookshop Redacted, located in Redacted, California. Current status, in storage. Note, you know a desk fan was running at full blast at the time of this anomaly's recovering, right? Item description, a Boeing 747-400M airliner. If the aft right lavatory is closed and locked while the aircraft is in flight, interior occupants have an approximately 4% chance of being transported to an unoccupied lavatory on another in-flight Boeing 747 derivative aircraft. A low-level antimimetic perception filter prevents the majority of passengers from realizing this has occurred until exiting the lavatory. Date of recovery, March 12, 1994. Location of recovery, Logan International Airport, Massachusetts. Current status, in storage, Site 76. Item description, a 1996 Ford Mustang convertible painted a rather bright shade of red. When in motion, the item has a fairly strong antimimetic effect on those not currently inside it, causing them to act as though it were not present. Evidence of repair suggests that previous owners of the item discovered this effect the hard way, but dismissed it as a coincidence. Date of recovery, September 6, 2019. Location of recovery, Found abandoned in the parking lot of a shopping center, Detroit, Michigan. Current status: being tested for potential SCP classification. Item description: a handheld kerosene lantern with a traditional metal frame and glass housing. Wear and tear on the frame suggests considerable age. Operates similarly to non-anomalous lanterns and can be ignited, handled, and carried as expected. Testing suggests it can do so in the absence of atmospheric oxygen. Date of recovery: January 3rd, 2019. See mission summary of Chang'e lunar landing. Location of discovery: the surface of the South Pole Aitken Base, a 2,500-kilometer diameter crater in the moon's far side. Found overturned within a large basalt plain. Its fuel supply had been exhausted upon recovery. Current status: in storage. Item description: a lock of brown hair that smells pleasantly of lavender and cannot be made to exude any other scent. Date of recovery: this item has been in Dr. Greaves' possession for as long as his services have been employed by the Foundation. Location of recovery: Dr. Greaves has refused to disclose this information. Current status: kept on Dr. Greaves' person at all times. Note: sorry, but I'm never letting go of this. Dr. Greaves. Item description: a spectacled owl the size of a small songbird. It still possesses the physical capabilities of a non-anomalous spectacled owl, killing small mammals and amphibians effortlessly. Due to its size, it kills its prey by slashing at the eyes of its victims, aiming for the animal to bleed to death. It doesn't seem to age, and it is relatively friendly towards humans. Date of recovery: January 25th, 2021. Location of recovery: an exotic pet shop that sells anomalous animals in Redacted, Vermont. Current status: in animal containment at site Redacted. Item description: a battery-powered lantern manufactured by Redacted. Item operates normally, even when batteries are non-functioning or not present. The light emitted does not dim under non-anomalous circumstances, even when unpowered. Affixed to the base of the lantern is a white sticker bearing the phrase, "For Fiona from Jake. May it always light your path." Date of recovery: August 6th, 2020. Location of recovery: abandoned campsite outside a cave entrance in Carlsbad Caverns National Park. Current status: being tested for further anomalous effects. Item description: a sheaf of 150 papers that share contents when modified with any writing or drawing tools including ink, lead, paint, and blood. Date of recovery: January 27th, 2021. Location of discovery: Redacted Elementary School in California, United States. Current status: pending use as instant and secure communication. Item description: a eastern blue-tongued skink, Telequa skinoides, which appears to be unaffected by the laws of gravity. Date of recovery: January 20th, 2021. Location of discovery: floating 4,500 meters above Melbourne, Australia. Current status: in wildlife containment at Site 24. Item description: a pair of walkie-talkies with no manufacturer's marking visible even on the inside. Objects perform as expected, with the exception that there does not appear to be any upper limit to their communication range. Primary testing has revealed that the objects can be used effectively from upwards of 2,000 miles away. Date of recovery: January 21st, 2021. Location of recovery: abandoned on a bench near a public beach in Sydney, Australia. Current status: being tested for limits of anomalous effect. Item description: a non-Euclidean Pringles brand can of chips that is extended on the inside. As it goes deeper, it gets larger by about 0.001 times 10 to the second centimeters per every centimeter on the outside. That means that the bottom centimeter is actually 10.29 centimeters. Only chips are affected, with any other object being put in being treated as if it's in a regular can. The can, and all chips inside it, weigh the same as a regular can filled up to a proportional degree. Date of recovery: July 11th, 2015. Location of discovery: bought by Junior Research Assistant Redacted Emerson in a on-site Walmart. Current status: tagged and being repeatedly shipped for refill to the near Pringles factory. Note: I don't care that it's immoral, we have limited funding. Redacted. Item description: a complete set of painting supplies titled The Perfect Painting Kit. The paint tubes in the set don't ever seem to empty, despite being poured into a standard paint can built to hold a gallon of paint. The paint brushes are also highly resistant to damage, and the bristles are unable to be bent in such a way that would ruin the paintbrush, as claimed on the back end of the item's original packaging. The paint brushes come to a total of 9, ranging from fine-tipped brushes to more broad-lined brushes. The last item in the set, the water pail, always has 3 liters of water in it, and washing paint off the brushes in it doesn't change the color of the water. Date of recovery: May 14th, 2017. Location of recovery: item was brought in by researcher Daniel Ham after he purchased the item at a local craft store. He discovered the anomalous nature of the item when the water pail had clean water in it and the weight of the paint tubes hadn't changed. Interview with employees shows no one knows where the product shipped from or its original manufacturer. All interviewed were amnesticized and released as per standard procedure. Current status: in site redacted break room with paper and easel available for personal use. Note: can we get some of those anomalous Bob Ross tapes? I think those would go really well with these paints. Researcher redacted. Item description: a 3-pound bag of Jelly Belly Bean Boozled jelly beans that contains flavors of both good and bad jelly beans which are not endorsed by the company. Flavors include, but are not limited to, black licorice / black tar heroin, tomato / blood of orphans, Brussels sprouts / chlorophyll, lettuce / cannabis, green onion / toxic waste, and several others. All flavors taste exactly as described and are non-toxic even if the original source flavor was. Date of recovery: February 21st, year redacted. Location of recovery: bought by Dr. Laz on one of her frequent visits to Redacted's Prank Emporium. Current status: kept in a cabinet in Site Redacted's break room. Note: whoever keeps putting handfuls of these in a bowl with other assorted jelly beans, I beg you to stop. It's cruel, even by my standards. Dr. Laz. Note: it was funny the first few times, but after tasting dish soup and laundry bleach, I think we need to put a lock on that cabinet. Researcher Daniel Ham. Item description: a prank device in the shape of a pen designed to deliver a mild electric shock to anyone who attempts to use it. This particular device delivers an amount of electricity similar to a police-issued taser, causing significant pain and temporary paralysis. Date of recovery: February 4th, 2021. Location of recovery: left in site redacted break room by an unknown person. Discovered when a junior researcher failed to report for duty and was found unconscious on the break room floor. Current status: formerly in storage, currently kept in a locked safe in the security office of site redacted. Note: are we sure this isn't just a real novelty device someone made? Dr. Laz. Note: yes, we are. It should be impossible for the internal workings to generate sufficient electricity. Researcher Jacobs. Item description: an incredibly lifelike inflatable doll in the form of a woman of Asian descent. The doll will shout obscenities in Mandarin when inflated despite having no electronics. Location of recovery: Taipo District, Hong Kong. Current status: seized for personal use by Dr. Sunderland. Note: when instructed to retrieve the object from Dr. Sunderland, all on-site security members refused, with one stating, quote, "I'd rather get in the cell with 682 than see what he is doing to that doll," unquote. Upon this comment, the agent has been transferred to cadet duty. Note: after repeated refusal from on-site security to retrieve the object, the head of security stated that assigning any agents to the retrieval of the object is a, quote, "unjustifiable ethical violation," unquote. When the ethics committee was asked to make a ruling on this, one member replied, quote, "We have more important concerns than Dr. Sunderland's amorous activities," unquote. Note: while Dr. Sunderland has now been allowed to keep the object in his personal quarters, he has been asked to keep the noise down between the hours of 2300 and 0500. Item description: a sapient bottle of Purell hand sanitizer that can speak telepathically. It claims to be an 1800s cotton farm owner named Tobias. It tries to help humans as it claims to see them as the most technologically advanced race. It hates anything that isn't man-made or is anomalous. Due to this, It hates all SCP items. It will often try to give advice on how to terminate SCP items and on how to help people. It appears to know a lot about medical care. It also believes it is superior to all other life forms. However, it can be rather charming when talking. When hand sanitizer is removed, it will let out a painful moan. More hand sanitizer can be added at any time. It also appears it enjoys hentai. Data recovery, March 10th, 2019. Location of recovery, a Pokemon-themed store in Redacted, Japan. Current status, in storage at site Redacted in the medbay. Additional notes. I've seen a lot of things during my time working here, but this has got to be one of the weirdest. Dr. Field. Item description, a 45-inch automatic double-barrel sniper rifle with an adjustable scope. The object shoots approximately 1,700 rounds per minute, with each round traveling 2,685 feet per second. The object fires 2 bullets together while functioning like an AR with the firepower of a SR. Despite the power in each round and the rate of bullets fired, the object does not overheat or jam. The object uses ammunition from an M4 carbine magazine that always appears in its user's pockets or pants. The anomalous object supplies an infinite amount of magazines in the user's pocket. Date of recovery, February 12, 2021. Location of discovery, found inside a military-grade crate left beside the road near Redacted, Wyoming. Current status, sealed away in storage. Note, the bullets used in the magazine are 7.62 by 51mm caliber ammunition. Note, this thing is hell awesome. Incredibly light, no recoil, and infinite ammunition. I personally got to use it, and I think these would be excellent with the mobile task force. Of course, we would have to find out how to replicate it. Item description, a household kitchen knife with a low-level cognito-hazardous effect, where a person wielding it feels an urge to inflict self-harm. Effects increase variably based on a wielder's mental state and views on life. Date of recovery, February 23, 2016. Location of recovery, a suburban house in Redacted, brought to attention after 3 teenagers committed suicide via lacerations to their wrists using the knife. Current status, kept in anomalous items locker B Redacted in site Redacted. Note, we are not responsible for any injuries or deaths related to use of this knife. If you need to cut something, wash off a knife. We've put this in a locked box for a reason. Hiding this knife among the rest of them as a prank will not be tolerated and will result in disciplinary action. We've already lost a researcher to it, and 4 more are still in the medical ward. Site Director Redacted. Item description, oval-shaped glass ornament inscribed with the words, "Honesty is the best policy." Anyone touching the ornament cannot communicate any statement they know to be false, either by speaking, writing, or using sign language. Subjects often claim that the words just won't come out. Date of recovery, February 20th, 2021. Location of recovery, secondhand store in Chicago, Illinois. Current status, on loan to site Redacted for interrogation of POI Redacted. Item description, a plastic Barbie doll that appears to have been chewed on by a formerly large dog, currently unknown canine entity. When exposed to the light of a full moon, the doll rapidly transforms into a plush toy resembling an anthropomorphic wolf. Date of recovery, February 27th, 2021. Location of recovery, an abandoned mobile home in the forest near Grundy, Virginia. Current status, in storage. Item description, a specimen of Aurelia aurata, moon jellyfish, with areas of black pigmentation forming a distinct smiley face on its bell. Additional patches of pigmentation spell the words Jerome the Jolly Jellyfish by Dr. Wondertainment in small letters around its circumference. This designation appears as number 10 in document 4225-A. The object lacks stinging cells but does not appear to require sustenance. Date of recovery, February 27th, 2021. Location of recovery, Ripley's Aquarium in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in a tank with numerous non-anomalous moon jellyfish. Current status, a jellyfish aquarium in the low-risk anomalous animal containment sector at Site 66. Item description, a GPKF-4W CMR karting helmet homologation number CMR123456, manufactured by Sparco SPA, that appears to be a different color on the visible light spectrum every time it is observed. These colors appear to be shown at random, and from preliminary testing, the item can be shown to be different colors to multiple people at once. It is unclear whether the effect comes from only the paint or the material the helmet is manufactured from itself. Date of recovery, the 2nd of redacted, year 20, redacted. Location of recovery, a warehouse owned by online motorsport shop Redacted in Redacted, England. Current status, currently housed in storage in Site 64. Item description, 1 empty pan of pre-made enchiladas, brand Y redacted, made of tin. When a subject enters within 10 meters of the pan, they will feel, quote, extremely yet pleasantly full, unquote. If a subject has a living parent or grandparent, they will comment, quote, just like insert name of family member here used to make, unquote. If a subject has no living paternal or maternal figures, they will not comment. No deviations of this manner have been recorded to date. Date of recovery, the 3rd of redacted, year 20, redacted. Location of recovery, residence of 1 John Watson, Burlington, Vermont. Of note is the fact that Mr. Watson is morbidly obese, yet rumored to exercise frequently, so it shall be assumed that the object in question does hold caloric content. Current status, currently in Site 66 cafeteria. Exposure to the object is limited to 5 minutes a day, in which the subject will gain exactly 240 calories of dietary value. Item description, 1 bottle of E redacted company brandy, complete with a selection of 7 short glasses reading, quote, drink E redacted company brandy. It's like fire in the stomach, unquote. When brandy is drunk with one of the shot glasses provided, a force of heat equivalent to a small brush fire will arise in the stomach, causing moderate discomfort. However, this will not cause any damage, and the feeling will dissipate after the event, which usually will last about 15 seconds. Date of recovery, the 3rd of redacted, year 20, redacted. Location of recovery, Phillips Head Brewery in Hinesburg, Vermont, after reports of a total of 3 men and 1 woman in front of the brewery screaming, quote, it's like fire, unquote, with shot glasses in their hands. Current status, locked in cold storage after a number of incidents involving 1 J redacted, B redacted. Item description, a male quagga, Equus quagga quagga. One of the animal's stripes on the right side of his neck spells the words, quote, Quincy the Quaint Quagga by Dr. Wondertainment, unquote, in white. This designation appears as number 17 in document 4225-A. Though the object does not exhibit greater intelligence than a typical animal, it appears to have been domesticated and is remarkably docile. Date of recovery, March 3rd, 2021. Location of recovery, in a pasture with several non-anomalous horses at a ranch near Great Falls, Montana. Current status, in the low-risk anomalous animal containment sector at Site 66, sharing its enclosure with a female quagga produced by SCP-646. Captive breeding efforts are currently underway. Item description, small hardcover book, bound in leather. When the book is opened, the pages remain blank as long as there is only 1 person within 10 meters. If there are multiple people within this space, the book will anomalously write the thoughts of the person closest to the holder of the book in stream of consciousness format. Date of recovery, March 4th, 2021. Location of recovery, bookstore in Gary, Indiana. The book had fallen behind the rest of the books on a shelf and became lost some time previously. Based on the thickness of the dust, it is believed that this occurred between 2 and 5 months prior to its discovery. Current status, available to security personnel for interrogation purposes. Item description, laminated paper sign reading, quote, no running, unquote, in black letters. Any formerly person, currently living thing within 200 yards of the sign cannot or maintain any speed above a moderate walk. Date of recovery, March 6th, 2021. Location of recovery, Redacted High School, Albany, New York. Current status, in low-value item storage. Note, no matter how funny you think it might be, using this item in a prank is not permitted. Anomalies are not toys, no matter how harmless they are. Site Director, redacted. Item description, unmarked plastic container full of glitter in various colors. The glitter can be removed and used as normal, but can only be removed from the skin. Contact with any other material causes the glitter to bond permanently to the surface, rendering it impossible to remove without completely destroying the surface. The container spontaneously refills itself when both empty and unobserved. Date of recovery, March 5th, 2021. Location of recovery, a party store franchise location in Miami, Florida. Current status, being tested with anomalous objects to determine the limits of its properties. Item description, a French translation of War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy that will launch itself towards the head of any human within 3 meters of it at speeds in excess of 100 kilometers per hour. Date of recovery, March 10th, 2021. Location of recovery, redacted bookstore in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Current status, in storage locker 344, site redacted. Item description, surveillance camera of indeterminate make and model, made circa 2010. Anyone looking at the camera has the sensation of something crawling on an area of exposed skin. This sensation has been confirmed to be a tactile hallucination. Date of recovery, March 12th, 2021. Location of recovery, small store specializing in home security equipment, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Current status, in storage. Item description, a vending machine which only dispenses discontinued or otherwise unavailable varieties of soft drink. The machine uses a standard key and can easily be filled. However, any drinks placed within it which are commonly available will be replaced with varieties that are no longer available, presumably when the machine is filled. How this occurs is not known, as video recording equipment will not operate within line of sight of the machine. Date of recovery, March 15th, 2021. Location of recovery, Jackson, Mississippi. Current status, in-site redacted break room for use by all personnel. Note, drinking some of the stuff makes you realize it was discontinued for a reason. Agent Jackson. Item description, a copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, printed in 1964. Anyone reading more than 4 pages will be unable to voluntarily stop reading until reaching the end of the book. The book must be forcibly removed from the reader's grip. Date of recovery, March 16th, 2021. Location of recovery, book sale at a public library, Peoria, Illinois. Current status, in storage. Note, this item is no more resistant to damage than any other book of the period. Use caution when freeing others from its anomalous effect to avoid unnecessary damage. Researcher Stevens. Item description, a standard industrial shredder that functions as intended. However, there is an extra button on the shredder. When pressed, the shredder's blades will move in the opposite direction than they would normally move. Additionally, any item previously shredded will exit the machine completely unharmed. Date of recovery, March 22nd, 2021. Location of recovery, Junkyard, Fresno, California. Note, the effect only applies to items that have been consumed by the shredder. Any piece of debris that flies out during the shredding process will remain in its current position unchanged. Researcher Davis. Item description, a small plastic flashlight that, when switched on, projects a beam of darkness rather than a beam of light. When the darkness is projected on a person's face, they are blinded. Many subjects refer to the effect as similar to the darkness in a cave or mine. Night vision equipment is ineffective at penetrating the darkness produced. Date of recovery, March 21st, 2021. Location of recovery, Joke Shop in Chicago, Illinois. Current status, in storage. Note, this flash dark, as it is colloquially known, uses batteries standard for a flashlight of its size. The batteries drain a lot faster than you'd expect, so the thing is almost useless unless you have lots of backup batteries. Agent McKinley. Item description, a tube of Mentos that seems to hold an infinite amount of said candy, formerly allowed to be used by any personnel when Mentos are needed, currently no longer allowed to be used by any personnel unless given clearance by doctor redacted and a reason is supplied. Date of recovery, May 1st, 2020. Location of recovery, a corner shop in redacted. Current status, formerly Site 18, currently Office of Doctor redacted. Note, higher restrictions of use have been put in place since someone decided to combine it with Site 18's endless Pepsi bottle. Doctor redacted. Item description, a specimen of Ovis aries, more commonly known as a sheep, which is capable of two-way communication in Spanish. Notably, it does not possess intelligence beyond that of a mundane instance of the species and solely communicates simplistic observations. It can react to certain phrases that roughly translate into things that it understands, such as a command to walk a certain direction, but is unresponsive to more sophisticated speech. It also cannot learn to associate things with words, such as the name of new objects it is presented with. Date of recovery, November 13th, 1984. Location of recovery, an undisclosed farm in Canada. Current status, dead due to mundane aging. The remains are stored but show no anomalous properties. Item description, a kitchen knife that carries a mimetic property where those viewing it or pictures of it will believe it is anomalous but unable to explain the specifics of what the anomalous properties are or why they believe it has them. Date of recovery, December 10th, 2004. Location of recovery, Agent Redacted's kitchen. Current status, in storage. Notice from Dr. Charleston. Just because I'm designating the object as anomalous doesn't mean I've fallen under its influence. It is genuinely an anomaly, even if it also causes a delusion of such. Item description, a keyring in the shape of a white billiard ball that when in contact with a person's skin changes their voice to a passable different voice, often of the opposite gender, as if changed by a high-quality digital voice modulator. It does not take effect when not in direct contact with user's skin. Date of recovery, July 4th, 2003. Location of recovery, secondhand shop in Luik, Belgium. Current status, in use by Dr. W. Redacted. Note, how has the truth not spread far enough yet that people still are confused when they actually see me? Dr. W. Redacted. Item description, an engraved brass pin in the shape of the SCP logo with added coloration to fill in the object's indents. The object, when pinned onto the lapel of any individual, gives them basic information on the Foundation and its purposes, as well as access to the information given only to Level 2 personnel. Date of recovery, April 4th, 1974. Location of recovery, site redacted, personnel offices. Current status, was in use by Foundation staff, currently in storage. Note, had to terminate D10057 after we used him to experiment with the effects. The object happens to give full information on all SCPs with a Level 2 clearance requirement. I expect a report will be filed regarding the object within the week. Dr. H. Ferguson. Second note, had to return the damn thing to storage after a failed attempt to use it as a tool for informing newly ranked Level 2 clearance staff, and this was after it gave one new guy more information than he was necessarily required for his job. Jonathan Smart, Head of Security at Site, Redacted. Item description, a German translation of the Count of Monte Cristo that causes anyone who touches it with bare skin to immediately suffer the symptoms of severe brucine poisoning. Date of recovery, March 26th, 2021. Location of recovery, located after a series of unexplained deaths at Redacted, Minnesota. Current status, in anomalous weapons storage at Site, Redacted. Item description, metal and plastic badge in the shape of a stereotypical Wild West sheriff star, bearing the words Bikini Inspector. Item is effectively identical to millions of other such items, sold as novelties, except for the fact that no manufacturer's markings can be located. When worn by a human subject, any females in the vicinity wearing bikinis will feel a mild compulsion to approach the wearer and present themselves for inspection. This applies to visual inspection only. Any physical contact will end the compulsion immediately. Date of recovery, March 24th, 2021. Location of recovery, seized from a beach in Miami, Florida, after a video was found on a popular social media site showing the item's effect. Current status, in formerly low value, currently secure item storage at Site, Redacted. Note, this item is in secure storage for a reason, and it's not because it's dangerous. Anyone caught trying to take the item with them on vacation will be reprimanded. Anomalies, no matter how harmless, are not to be used for fun. Site Director, Redacted. Item description, a consumer-grade birdhouse that spontaneously gains new anomalous properties and or transforms physically as new containment procedures are enacted on it, rendering said containment ineffective to some degree. The new properties replace the old ones, and the object will no longer display those which do not currently cause a breach. Date of recovery, February 30th, 1971. Location of recovery, an undisclosed pet store in Australia. Current status, fused to a soundproofed locker. Note, it has been suggested that the object's containment be modified in such a way that it is manipulated to gain new properties which would benefit the Foundation. However, other similar anomalies with actual SCP classifications would be better suited for this role, and as such, these suggestions are not being implemented at the time of writing. Item description, a t-shirt, men's size medium, showing nothing more than a black symbol against a white background. The symbol appears to be some form of glyph, but merely looking at the symbol causes pain. This effect manifests as mild eye strain after 10 seconds of exposure and escalates in severity, becoming a migraine after only 7 minutes. The longest anyone has been able to view this symbol was 12 minutes and 40 seconds. The viewer, a sufferer of cluster headaches, claimed that it was the worst pain she'd ever experienced. Other than the symbol, the item is non-anomalous. Date of recovery, March 6th, 2021. Location of recovery, found at a garage sale in Minneapolis, Minnesota, under a pile of clothing, none of which has been found to be anomalous. Current status, in storage. Note: a request has been submitted to study the symbol to discover if its anomalous effect is part of the item or intrinsic to the symbol itself. At the time of writing, the request is being reviewed by the Ethics Committee. Item description: a red bouncy ball with a height symbol on it. When thrown, it always bounces up to the exact height of the thrower, that loudly exclaims the exact height in an unidentifiable male voice. This effect only occurs on the first bounce. Date of recovery, April 2nd, 2021. Location of recovery, discovered in a major motion picture prop closet after it halted filming for multiple films. Current status, accidentally terminated after an attempt to, quote, bounce it so hard it would make researcher, redacted, sound taller, unquote. Note: do not let this happen again. Head researcher. Item description: a sheet of standard A1 copier printer paper which is completely blank. It can be written on easily. However, when either side is more than 80% filled, all markings instantly disappear. The item also displays a very high resistance to damage. Date of recovery, March 31st, 2021. Location of recovery, on the floor of a supply closet at Site 63. Current status, available on request to all personnel level 2 and above. Item description: a baseball that instantaneously causes various injuries, especially sports injuries, upon catching the ball in the air, even if there are no risk factors that can lead to these injuries. The baseball is otherwise unremarkable, and picking up the ball from the surface or the ground does not lead to any of these injuries. Date of recovery, August 13th, 1981. Location of recovery, Redacted High School, Redacted, New York. Current status, in storage, pending further research. Note: ARG, this is expletive painful. My leg is fractured. Dr. Alchin. Item description: an unbranded yellow pencil that rotates the graphite end, formerly at random, currently to point towards the nearest teacher. Date of recovery, April 20th, 2018. Location of recovery, Redacted Academy, Philippines. Current status, in storage. Item description: an antique brass compass, by closest estimation, manufactured between 1810 and 1840, whose needle does not point to magnetic north. Instead, the needle points in the direction of the nearest source of street food. Date of recovery, June 9th, 2020. Location of recovery, antique store in Redacted, New York. Current status, in low-value item storage. Item description: a specimen of Punchus semifasciolatus, gold-barbed fish, with the face of a human male. A miniature top hat, which does not seem to impede swimming, has been affixed to its head by unknown means. Patches of black pigmentation along its left side spell the words Ferdinand the Fancy Fish by Dr. Wondertainment in tiny letters. This designation appears as number 6 in document 4225-A. Date of recovery, April 7th, 2021. Location of recovery, a Walmart in Claypool Hill, Virginia. Current status, in an aquarium in Site 66's low-risk animal containment sector. Item description: a male Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a with nomenclative mimetic properties that compel any individual attempting to communicate about said Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a to specifically refer to the aforementioned Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a as a Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a rather than with an abbreviation or pronoun. The Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a has a pattern of bright blue pigmentation on the Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a's left side, spelling the words Hubert the Hilarious Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a by Dr. Wondertainment in small letters. This designation appears as number 8 in document 4225-A. Despite the Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a's name, the Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a does not appear to be anomalously funny. It is believed that the supposed hilarity was intended to arise from repeated usage of the word Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a, but all personnel have reported that it was only funny the first few times and increasingly annoying thereafter. Formerly, the underpaid research assistant who had to write Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a 100 fucking times to fill out this stupid fucking entry about a stupid fucking Humuhumu Nukunuku Apua'a thoroughly agrees. Currently, date of recovery, April 11th, 2021. Location of recovery, a decorative fish tank in the redacted restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia. Current status: an aquarium in Site-66's low-risk animal containment sector. Item description: a folded paper airplane, rather more elaborate than most. When touched by anyone above the age of 18, it immediately teleports to a random location within 3 meters. Date of recovery: April 13th, 2021. Location of recovery: redacted High School, San Diego, California. Current status: stuck above the ceiling in the cafeteria of Site-64. Due to the anomalous effect, reality anchors will be required for retrieval. Item description: a T-28 Super Heavy tank weighing roughly 90 tons in a well-worn condition. The vehicle has a cognitohazardous effect that causes anyone that views it to see it as a large bush. The area covered by the perceived bush is not as large as the tank itself, meaning a person can walk into the tank while they believe they are walking around a bush, at which point they become aware of the tank's presence. This is how the vehicle was discovered. The Foundation subsequently administered amnestics to the affected individuals and replaced the vehicle with a non-anomalous reproduction. Date of recovery: July 12, 1974. Location of recovery: a field in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Current status: in Site-52's anomalous vehicle storage garage. Note: vehicle has been labeled with signage after staff got sick of being asked why there was a bush in the garage. Item description: chef's knife, 25 centimeters, approximately 10 inches in length. No manufacturer's name or logo is visible. Whenever the knife is used to cut any item, it actually generates a cognitohazardous effect, causing observers, including the user, to believe the item has been cut. Video recordings bypass this effect, showing that the knife is never actually used to cut the item in question. Date of recovery: February 2nd, 2020. Location of recovery: estate sale in northern Michigan. Current status: formerly in storage, currently being tested. Note: it has recently been called into question whether this item actually has cognitohazardous properties or if its effect operates in some other fashion. I personally find the question to be of minimal importance and feel that several of my colleagues have far too much time on their hands. Dr. Malkin. As this item has a potential connection to an SCP, Dr. Malkin's opinion regarding this matter is no longer relevant. All avenues will be explored. 0513. Item description: a standard magic 8-ball with a 1999 Toys R Us logo on the back. When shook, the item will always answer with a variation of the unsure answer. The response given is always different from the last answer. There is currently an indeterminable amount of responses. Date of recovery: January 2nd, 2009. Location of recovery: garage sale located in Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Current status: in storage. Item description: a Coke brand soda machine that, no matter what filled with or amount of contents, will output Diet Pepsi. Date of recovery: March 9th, 2019. Location of recovery: McDonald's in Detroit, Michigan, USA. Current status: Area 2's cafeteria, available for all personnel to use. Item description: Pepsi brand soda machine that, regardless of contents or button pressed, dispenses a random variety of soda, including several that have been discontinued or never existed in the first place. Date of recovery: October 15th, 2020. Location of recovery: basement of a fraternity house, Raleigh, North Carolina. Current status: in Site-16's cafeteria, available for use by all personnel. Note: there is a small, less than 10% chance of this item dispensing anomalous soft drinks, including SCP-2107. Exercise caution when the machine dispenses any soft drink you don't recognize. Dr. Jameson. Item description: U.S. $1 bill, which subjects are extremely reluctant to part with, even when offered a bill of identical value or the bill's equivalent in coins. When questioned, those affected explain that they might need it. Date of recovery: February 1st, 2021. Location of recovery: found behind the wall of a condemned building in Washington, D.C. Current status: in storage, sealed inside a locked container. Item description: a brandless paint bucket containing an endless amount of blue paint. Any object that touches the bucket in any way will have the side that touched the bucket turn blue. Entire walls can be painted simply by touching the bucket to the wall. Paint is impossible to remove or paint over. Live animals and humans are, formerly unaffected, currently able to be affected if directly touching paint inside bucket. Date of recovery: April 16th, 2021. Location of recovery: redacted paint shop in Denver, Colorado. Current status: formerly used for painting walls, currently in storage. Item description: metal and plastic folding umbrella, blue canopy. When not being held by a human being, anyone observing it directly believes it to be a large and terrible monster. Descriptions of the monster vary, but generally draw upon things the subject is frightened of. Photographs and videos of the item reveal its true nature. Date of recovery, April 19th, 2021. Location of recovery, abandoned horror movie set, Hollywood, California. Current status, formerly in storage, currently locked in the security office at site, redacted. Note: all personnel are reminded that anomalies are not toys. Failure to handle them responsibly will result in disciplinary action. Site director, redacted. Item description: a slightly used handheld eraser that, formerly, has no effects at all, even on normal pencil markings. Currently, it has since been discovered that the object makes erased marking reappear. Date of recovery, October 10th, 2010. Location of recovery, off a John Doe during standard checks. Current status, in Agent White's desk. Item description: an old Nokia 6100 model cellular phone. If a person plays the game Snake on said phone, they become completely paralyzed for 24 hours after initializing the game. Date of recovery, July 16th, 2015. Location of recovery, seemingly abandoned warehouse, likely used as CI cover near redacted Afghanistan. Current status, in storage. Note: object's effects were first noted by Foundation personnel on current MTF operative agent redacted, who at the time was a military special operative for redacted. He has no memory of the incident after amnestic treatment, as at the time of the incident he was not yet Foundation personnel. Item description: stone carving of an eye, highly detailed and quite realistic. Anyone with direct unbroken line of sight to the item feels as if they are being watched. This is described as weird but not really uncomfortable. It has seemed to cause affected individuals to make more ethical or moral decisions, but it is currently unknown if this is an anomalous effect of the item or merely human psychology. Date of recovery, January 9th, 2019. Location of recovery, discovered in a wall during demolition of an abandoned house. Current status, in storage. Note: there was no indication of when this item was acquired by the owners of the house acquired this item or where it was acquired from. Testing revealed it to be 2,750 years old, but who made it or where it came from remained maddeningly unclear. Researcher Somerset. Item description: a post-it note that has the phrase, "Oh, go." It is then abruptly stopped. When looked at and read, an unknown male voice will say, "Quick, look behind you." The viewer will then always look behind them despite any inputs they have. Date of recovery, January 1st, 2001. Location of recovery, Joke and Gag Store in San Diego, California, USA. Current status, formerly in storage, currently on a table in the cafeteria of Area 2. Note: it has been found this can cause damage to certain people, especially those who are physically incapable of turning their neck. Dr. Gibson. Note: alright, it was funny until I dropped my lunch turning around. So, haha, someone put it back in storage. Agent White. Item description: a pair of glass salt and pepper shakers that both, when shaken, produce a combination of custard powder and human ashes, despite being filled with salt and pepper, respectively. The pair will still retain their anomalous properties after being refilled with their intended contents. Date of recovery, May 5th, 2011. Location of recovery, found at a funeral home in redacted Denmark. Current status, in storage and site redacted. Item description: a single white tile that, upon dirtying, can never be cleaned. This property applies to all faces of any piece of the tile, as well as any dirt or grime currently attached to the tile, resulting in severe buildup. Date of recovery, February 8th, 2008. Location of recovery, the bathroom of a now defunct fast food restaurant in redacted California, USA. Current status, in site redacted hazardous storage. Item description: a physical copy of Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast for the Nintendo Switch, despite the game receiving no physical release. The cartridge will work with any electronic device with a screen, including broken consoles or those without power, though it remains unplayable unless the device has inbuilt or connected control interfaces which are roughly analogous to those of the Nintendo Switch. Date of recovery, March 8th, 2003. Location of recovery, taken from the home of Jonathan Redacted after he posted on social media about the anomalous properties of the item. Current status, in site redacted break room, available for recreational activity. Item description: keychain featuring a stylized owl with a keyring attached. The item possesses mild antimemetic properties, causing human subjects to forget its location at random yet frequent intervals. This effect will still occur even if the item is in the subject's pocket or attached to their belt. The only way to prevent the antimemetic effect is for the item to be placed in the subject's direct line of sight or held in their hand. Date of recovery, May 1st, 2021. Location of recovery, under a couch in a furniture store, Chicago, Illinois. Current status, in a display case kept under constant video surveillance. Note: I know it may seem silly to have someone constantly watching a harmless object, but anything antimemetic can be tricky. Researcher Somerset. Better safe than sorry. Dr. Gates. Item description: a burrito which, when eaten, it will regenerate itself and start levitating until it reaches the sky and then will fall into its original location. Date of recovery, May 6th, 2020. Location of recovery, at a local Taco Bell store, redacted, Oregon, USA. Current status, in storage. Item description: a hamburger which, when eaten, it will teleport the individual who has eaten it inside a completely random Burger King store. Date of recovery, November 7th, 2019. Location of recovery, at a Burger King store in redacted, Arizona, USA. Current status, stored at Site 17. Item description: a leather wallet embossed with the image of a woodland scene. When picked up by a male or male-identifying individual, a tall man in his early 30s will manifest and slap it out of the individual's hands before demanifesting. The man appears to have a mild antimemetic effect, as no one is able to remember any details about him or his appearance beyond that he is tall and his exact height cannot be agreed upon. Date of recovery, December 12th, 2020. Location of recovery, on the floor of a bus station, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Current status, in storage. Note: anyone caught leaving this item where it can be found by an unsuspecting individual can find it will be reprimanded. The joke's getting old. Agent McPherson. Item description: a redacted, which every time it is written about, important information about it will be censored. Date of recovery, redacted. Location of recovery, redacted, in redacted. Current status, redacted, at site redacted. Notes: what the fuck? Dr. Redacted. Addendum: further research on the antimemetic abilities of the redacted should be conducted. Item description: a sentient, mobile, and talking piece of toilet paper. Date of recovery, June 5th, 2018. Location of recovery, in the bathroom of senior researcher, redacted. Current status, in storage. Item description: a highly detailed rapier made of lined graphing paper that is capable of puncturing through most materials as if made of steel. The rapier is capable of being damaged or folded. Testing shows that it was made on the molecular level. Date of recovery, May 10th, 2021. Location of recovery, redacted middle school, made by student, redacted, who accidentally stabbed another student, killing them. Investigations found that the sword wasn't meant to be anomalous, and that said student mindlessly made the weapon. Said student and witnesses amnesticized. Current status, in storage. Item description: a paperback copy of H.P. Lovecraft's short story, The Thing on the Doorstep, which will appear on the doorstep of an occupied house every 24 hours. Date of recovery, unavailable. Location of recovery, unavailable. Current status, unknown. Item description: a physical copy of the Bethesda video game Skyrim. Those who play the game for long amounts of time become temporarily extremely prejudiced against all Nordic and Scandinavian peoples for a few hours. Date of recovery, unavailable. Location of recovery, in the home of Redacted, a Russian serial killer who murdered redacted people during a trip to Norway. Current status, formerly in site break room, currently in storage. Note: okay, who seriously allowed this to be used by staff? It led to Dr. Olaf being hospitalized. If I find the head researcher who let this happen, I will strangle them. Researcher Howards. Item description: a ceramic statue of a duck, approximately 15 centimeters tall. Anyone viewing it becomes convinced that it is watching them, provided there is a direct line of sight between the viewer and the item. After 4 hours of exposure, subjects become convinced the duck is watching them even when there is no direct line of sight. This effect ends immediately when the item is no longer in the same room as the subject. Date of recovery, May 15th, 2021. Location of recovery, antique store in Portland, Oregon. Current status, in the office of Site 74's head of security. Note: the effect is described as slightly unnerving, but seems to have no psychological effect. There is an increased tendency toward ethical and moral behavior, but this is due to the effect of believing one is being observed rather than anything anomalous. Researcher Somerset. Item description: a set of 65 lava lamps, each containing a completely unique miniature multiverse within. When power is removed from any one of the lamps, all activity inside immediately enters a state of multiversal temporal pause until power is restored. Numerous instances of inter-universal civilizations developing in each of the lamps has been observed, but contact with said civilizations has yet to be made. Date of recovery, May 23rd, 2020. Location of recovery, a Dr. Wondertainment storage facility in Salt Lake City, Utah. Current status, in storage. Note: the level of uniqueness in life and stellar placement displayed within each of the lamp's multiverses is truly incredible. The fact that not a single one of the universes within these lamps share biological or cosmological similarities to our own, save their formation, is impressive and should be further studied, not shoved in a box. Researcher Garrett. They're just a bunch of funky lava lamps, Harold. Stop obsessing and get back to work. Lead Researcher Hughes. Item description: a box of 27 fortune cookies. When consumed, the individual will invariably forget that the instances contain paper fortunes and chew on it before realizing their mistake. This effect can be avoided with use of amnestics. Date of recovery, January 12th, 2003. Location of recovery, Chinese restaurant in Buffalo, New York. Current status, destroyed during Site 28 containment breach. Item description: globe displaying several countries that do not exist. Anyone viewing the globe will believe that the countries displayed are real. This effect is not very strong and can be easily countered with correct world maps. Date of recovery, June 1st, 2021. Location of recovery, middle school classroom in Indianapolis, Indiana. Current status, unknown, presumed lost. Item description: a Lego set that when after a person finishes the build, the model being built changes into another unused set. It also has been viewed to change into Lego models that have not been released to the public or discontinued. Date of recovery, June 6th, 2021. Location of recovery, an apartment in Olympia, Washington. Current status, available in the break room for personnel to build. Note: no one is allowed to take it because they want extra research at home. This goes for giving it to Class D personnel just because. Researcher Daniel. Item description: small travel alarm clock. Whenever the alarm sounds, all those within hearing range show increasing signs of exhaustion the longer it is allowed to sound, making it nearly impossible to wake up using the alarm. Date of recovery, June 18th, 2021. Location of recovery, a hotel in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Current status, being used by researcher Hayakawa for help with persistent insomnia. Item description: a white oak tree that will begin to devour any material placed upon its bark, completely absorbing the item into itself over the course of a few hours. Date of recovery, February 23rd, 2020. Location of recovery, Ozark Street, Francis National Forest, Arkansas, USA. Current status, located in Site 473's Anomalous Flora Department, now used for the purpose of disposing of non-anomalous material. Item description: audio recording of the flop guy from the popular series on YouTube ASDF movie, stating his popular quote, "Everybody do the flop," found on a tape recorder. Any person who listens to the audio will instantaneously fall face forward due to an unseen force. Individuals who fall perceive no initial pain from the fall unless the fall results in a fall from an extreme height. Date of recovery, February 9th, 2013. Location of recovery, popular YouTuber Tomska's residence. Tomska denied having given the recording anomalous properties. Class C amnestics applied afterward. Current status, Site 76 low-grade anomalous storage. Individuals are not permitted to play the recording for any reason. Currently pending status for utilizing it whilst multiple people are viewing SCP-173 to be added as a thing Dr. Bright is forbidden from doing. Note: no staff, no matter how funny it might be, are permitted to have the recording played in public, especially not after Dr. Bright messed with it. If I hear of anyone playing the thing again, I'm putting up a request for the anomaly to be neutralized. Yvonne Vickers, Security Officer at Site 76. Item description: a blue poison dart frog. Dendru Bates, Tinctorius azurius. The only vocalizations that has been recorded making are similar to that of a two-stroke engine. At exactly 12 p.m. each day, it plays the song Axel F. from the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack, albeit made only vocalizations of ding and bing. The animal has the normal needs of a typical frog. Date of recovery, redacted, year 2003. Location of recovery, Gothenburg, Sweden. Current status, formerly in storage. Currently, decision pending to move to site redacted's break room. Item description: a standard Dance Dance Revolution machine. All songs observed to be playable originate from other arrow-based rhythm games. As of the writing of the report, songs from Osu, Friday Night Funkin', and Hatsune Miku Project Diva. Date of recovery, February 14th, 2021. Location of recovery, the back room of an arcade in Philadelphia. Current status, placed in the break room of Site 17 for staff use. Note: don't try doing Casanova on alt difficulty. I had to be on all fours for that. Damn quadruple notes. Researcher Fuchsia. Item description: a Glock 17 handgun that, when held and pointed at a person, forces the holder to be overly friendly and empathetic towards the person they are pointing the gun at. Date of recovery, March 12th, year 20, redacted. Location of recovery, redacted gas station, Australia. Current status, placed in a standard anomalous containment safe at Site 141. Item description: a Dungeons & Dragons miniature figure for the fire elemental monster that lightly singes any kind of raw meat that is placed on the same table as it. If any container of water is placed on the same surface as this item, it will spill via unknown means. Date of recovery, July 12th, 2020. Location of recovery, Dungeons & Dragons collection basement of suburban home in Redacted, Maryland. Current status, held in low-value item storage at Site 76. Item description: a pair of playing cards, both of which is a 3 of spades, which connect and act as wings when placed next to each other. They will begin to flap and fly around the room like a butterfly. Though the cards are indestructible, the connection is extremely fragile and will break apart even when lightly touched. Date of recovery, redacted of April, year 2001, redacted. Location of recovery, convenience store in redacted Spain. Current status, in storage. Item description: a plastic box with an M&M's label and filled with the popular M&M's candy. When any amount of M&M's is taken out of the box, nothing apparently anomalous happens. However, when one of the candies from the box is dropped onto the ground, it will disappear. The location in which it ends up is unknown. Date of recovery, June 11th, 2020. Location of recovery, candy shop in Tennessee, USA. Current status, in storage. Item description: 2 pairs of dice that, when rolled, always produced a sum which is equal to the nth digit of pi, with n representing the number of times it has been rolled since its construction. It is estimated to have been rolled, data redacted, times. Date of recovery, redacted of July, year 2002, redacted. Location of recovery, trash can of a casino in redacted, Wales. Current status, in storage. Item description: bonsai apple tree in a green ceramic pot. The tree always has one full-sized apple hanging from its branches. If the apple is picked, the tree will produce a bud, which flowers and grows into another full-sized fruit within 3 seconds. There appears to be no upper limit to how often this can happen, although the soil in the pot does not need specialized fertilizer to replace nutrients if too many apples are picked in succession. Date of recovery, July 14th, 2021. Location of recovery, found on the desk of a recently fired office worker in the data redacted building, Pensacola, Florida. Current status, kept in a location most suitable for plant growth at Site 67. Apples are available to all personnel. Note: this could be useful in the event of a food shortage. Agent Wilkins. Item description: a hexagonal aluminum collector's tin from the Pokemon trading card game, measuring 2.9 inches tall with an 8.1 by 5.7 inch base. The box, despite its limited size, contains 1 copy of each of the redacted cards created and published for the English sets of the game. In addition to its anomalous storage capacity, the box also populates with any additional sets of cards released for the English version of the game without any need for input or interaction from outside. The cards themselves are non-anomalous. They are identical to cards of the same type acquired by other means and exhibit no effects when removed from the box. All cards can be removed, but testing on the box revealed that its anomalous storage capacity is limited to cards from Pokemon and similar trading card games. Date of recovery, August 13th, 2015. Location of recovery, bedroom of researcher redacted, Sun, Bethesda, Maryland. Current status, formerly kept in the site redacted break room, currently in storage. Note: I don't care how rare or valuable they are, cards from this object are not to be taken home. Researcher parcel. Item description: a cellular phone with inverted swiping, despite no such options existing. The user must swipe downward to proceed along a typical social media page such as Twitter, and the list of tweets of the page contents appear inverted as well, with them proceeding in the order they originally were in, but manifested from bottom to top rather than from top to bottom. Date of recovery, redacted, year 2020. Location of recovery, found in one of Site 19's recreation facilities. Object was left behind and was claimed to have been owned by the late researcher redacted. Current status: phone has been claimed by the administrator. Requests to explain why he has taken the phone for his own use have been denied. Note: what a curious thing, this phone. The administrator. Item description: a book labeled The Book of Dr. Bright in large text. The book is assumed to have contained significant information on Dr. Bright. Date of recovery: redacted of September, year 20, redacted. Location of recovery: found on one of Dr. Bright's host bodies. Dr. Bright denied he had authored the book or intentionally taken it. Current status: neutralized by Dr. Bright. Note: the winky face emoticon. Dr. Bright. Item description: a length of nylon cord tied into a standard hangman's noose when found. When light shines upon the cord when it is in this shape, the silhouette of a hanging body is visible in the shadow of the cord. Date of recovery: July 14th, 2021. Location of recovery: redacted, Art Gallery, Key West, Florida. Current status: in storage. Note: anyone caught taking this item out of storage for purposes of scaring their coworkers will be subject to disciplinary action, even on Halloween. We're professionals. Act like it. Researcher Somerset. Item description: a 10-piece dice set that plays one of seemingly endless sound effects depending on the number rolled and effect in the depending game. Date of recovery: July 28th, 2021. Location of recovery: redacted Toy Store, Miami, Florida. Current status: Site 19 break room. Item description: a sea trumpet made of lead, with light red diminishing paint. When one blows into the said anomalous object, the color of the paint on the trumpet changes color according to those who have blown into it. The color does not change for those who have not played the object. Date of recovery: October 16th, 1945. Location of recovery: Chateau de Brest, Brest, France. Current status: currently housed in storage at Site 64. Item description: a World War I French Army standard issue vest that appears to act as a kind of mirror for any non-anomalous bullets that make direct contact, reflecting them at a 90-degree angle at doubled speeds. Date of recovery: November 19th, 1965. Location of recovery: an unmarked trench near the Somme battlefields. Current status: a Site 19 anomalous items locker. Item description: a very spooky jack-o'-lantern from the depths of Halloween hell. It causes scary descriptions and spooky characterizations to be made when referring to it. It also lights itself during the haunted dead month of October and glows a menacing purple when it is the scariest day of all, Halloween night. Date of recovery: 31st of October, Halloween night in the year 2009. Ooh. Location of recovery: the front porch of a haunted and spooky house in Galway, Ireland. Current status: used for the menacing purpose of some decorations to die for by formerly Site 2, currently Site 17. Ooh. Even spookier considering Site 2 doesn't exist. Note: it should be noted that a spooky female scream that sends shivers down your spine from an indiscernible source can be heard after reading the rest of this horrifying text. Scary Researcher Anderson. Item description: sheet of standard-sized printer paper with the words "out of order" printed on them in black ink. Anyone reading the words sees them in their native first language. Other than very high durability, this item appears to have no further anomalous properties. Date of recovery: August 10th, 2021. Location of recovery: taped to a printer in an office building in Manchester, New Hampshire. Current status: taped to a printer in an office in Site 67. Item description: small crystal made out of smoky quartz. Anyone who holds the crystal involuntarily drops it after 30 seconds, claiming that someone slapped it out of their hand. This effect occurs even if the holder is alone in the room or unaware of any others present. Date of recovery: August 13th, 2021. Location of recovery: Austin, Texas. Current status: in low-value item storage. Item description: a brick of solid white chocolate that registers 7,400 degrees Celsius with thermal sensors, but remains completely solid. While the surrounding area is not affected by the extreme heat, organic tissue that makes contact will vaporize. No attempt to transport the block was made. Date of recovery: August 17th, 2021. Location of recovery: a field outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania. Current status: a solid containment block was constructed around the chocolate and is regularly monitored with thermal optics. No one is allowed to attempt consumption. Item description: a damaged radio found with its batteries removed but constantly playing static. Indistinct talking could be heard through the static, however, and seemed to be on a loop. After subsequent inspection, some vague sentences were discerned. Quote, NATO has confirmed the use of battlefield nuclear weapons in Eastern Europe. Unquote. Quote, it's 6 p.m. Sydney time, redacted year 1983. This is redacted news. Unquote. Date of recovery, redacted year 2007. Location of recovery, found partially buried in Wollemi National Park, New South Wales, Australia. Current status, radio was extracted by Foundation agents undercover as park rangers and is now in Site 98 awaiting further research. Item description, a specimen of Hydrochorus hydrocharis capybara. The air within a 2.4 meter radius of the object remains at a constant 21.1 degrees Celsius, regardless of other conditions. Patches of black hair spell Carlos the Cool Capybara by Dr. Wondertainment on its left side. The designation appears as number 3 in document 4225-A. Date of recovery, August 20th, 2021. Location of recovery, the Chattanooga Zoo, sharing an enclosure with several non-anomalous capybaras. Zoo personnel had no recollection of the object's arrival. Current status, and low-risk animal containment at Site 66. Item description, a metallic top that spins indefinitely in a fixed location, with all attempts at halting movement resulting in failure. With the exception of it occasionally deviating from set norm, no other anomalous properties have been discovered as of yet. The rate of such occurrences has not been observed to be fixed. Date of recovery, August 15th, 2020. Location of recovery, a toy shop in Chinatown, Singapore. Current status, in storage at the Michigan branch of Site 85's Anomalous Item Research Lab. Note, following a breach in its containment on November 20th, 2020, junior researcher Lilith Agnes has requested to conduct further testing on this item. Request approval is currently pending. Item description, full-length mirror, glass in a wooden frame carved with roses. Any movement reflected in the mirror is a fraction of a second late, just enough to be noticeable. Observers describe this effect as unnerving and often creepy. Spending a long period of time in line of sight of the mirror causes subjects to become convinced that something is watching them from the mirror, but nothing has been found. Date of recovery, October 31st, 2020. Location of recovery, an antique store in Las Vegas, Nevada. Current status, being tested. Item description, common Newton's cradle physics toy which, when observed, afflicts the viewer with a strong mimetic urge to use it, at which point the mimetic urge ends, resurfacing once the toy stops. The toy is imprinted with the logo of redacted physics suppliers. Upon further investigation, none of their other Newton's cradle toys have been shown to be anomalous. Date of recovery, January 11th, 2020. Location of recovery, a physics classroom in Redacted High School in Redacted, Indiana. Current status, in storage. Item description, a 128 gigabyte USB drive that has to be cracked like a glow stick to function. It stays functional for the same amount of time as an average glow stick, but it can be recracked. Recracking the drive will change the date modified of the files between 1 to 80 years ahead or behind. Date of recovery, July 23rd, 1941. Location of recovery, a salt mine in Redacted, Romania. Current status, being used by Dr. Redacted to save some of his paperwork that isn't immediately needed. Item description, a first edition copy of The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. The book itself displays no anomalous properties. However, its location at the time of discovery makes it relevant to the Foundation. Date of recovery, November 6th, 1989. Location of recovery, inside a time capsule which had been sealed underground and completely untouched since 1889. Current status, in storage. Note, how a book could be sealed in a time capsule almost 50 years before it was written is a mystery that may never be solved. Researcher Somerset. Item description, a pair of latex gloves that, when first worn, cannot be removed by the wearer. Date of recovery, July 18th, 2017. Location of recovery, unavailable. Current status, currently being worn by Researcher Lantern. It itches, smells, tight, and it's sweaty. It's been like this for 3 fucking years and there's nothing I can do about it. My life is a living hell. Researcher Lantern. Item description, a baseball cap that can only be removed by the wearer. Any attempt by any formerly one, currently thing else to remove the hat reveals only other identical hat where the original hat was. Removed hats demanifest within 45 minutes. It is theorized that the number of hats that can be revealed in this fashion may be infinite. Date of recovery, December 2nd, 2019. Location of recovery, found in a package mailed to Redacted, which was found to be an abandoned house. No sign of the person the package is addressed to has been found. Current status: being tested to determine if there is an upper limit to the number of hats created by the item's anomalous property. Note: after a recent incident, fill an interview room with hats. All testing is to be performed outdoors. Item description: a first edition copy of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Pot of Greed, YGLD ENB26 edition, which at random intervals changes the description of the card to drawing a different number of cards. Date of recovery: May 3rd, 2021. A location of recovery: found and subsequently bought off of eBay by Dr. Laz. Current status: framed on a wall in Dr. Laz's office. Note: please stop asking what it does, that joke has gotten old. Dr. Laz. Item description: a vinyl record called Makan by a Singaporean artist group, Playlab Team 1, with a different version of the album belonging to a different person, playing with every playback. Repeated tests show that 5 people have been identified, with the artists following a cycle. Despite the closing track, 50 Days, and the number of songs staying the same, each artist's version of the album differs in length, genre, production, and features, with some identified features from Kanye West, BTS, the entirety of Hololive, and Gorillaz. 4 of the 5 voices have been identified to belong to 4 media, arts, and design students from Singapore Polytechnic, with the 5th currently unknown. When interviewed, the identified students claim that they have no memory of recording or producing the album and have no knowledge as to who the 5th person is. In addition, they have confirmed that all songs match and line up with events that have occurred when the group was working together for a group project. Date of recovery: August 25th, 2021. Location of recovery: Curated Records, Singapore. Current status: sent to senior researcher Anthony Fantano for review. Note: strong 10, Dr. Fantano. Item description: a set of Japanese manga called Tales from the Foundation that has accurately predicted events that occurred throughout the Foundation's history, such as terminations, containment breaches, the creations of various anomalies, etc. With the exception of that, the book themselves present no other observable anomalous properties. When contacted, the author claims she has no knowledge of the actual SCP Foundation and that all characters used in her series are original. Investigations are currently ongoing. Date of recovery: December 27th, 2021. Location of recovery: a manga shop in Akihabara, Japan. Current status: in storage at the Japan branch of Site 85's Anomalous Item Research Lab. Note: I hope Dr. Clef doesn't find her, the author's, Pixiv. Dr. Araki. Item description: a weathered copper statue of the exact shape and size of an average adult female giant horned lizard Phrynosoma oseo that will spontaneously animate upon coming in contact with sand. The item will acquire most of which a standard specimen of its species needs except for oxygen whilst animate. It also possesses the ability to defend itself if provoked and or threatened in a pointed manner by expelling hot water produced via unknown means from its eyes at the perceived threat. Date of recovery: June 14th, year 18, redacted. Location of recovery: redacted, Quebec, Canada. Current status: formerly in storage, currently contained within a standard terrarium in Dr. M. Frosch's office. Item description: a disposable vape pen that creates a cloud of mustard gas when exhaled. The person inhaling the cloud gets a normal cloud. It only turns into mustard gas on the exhale. Date of recovery: March 14th, 2021. Location of recovery: a high school courtyard in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Current status: hidden in a drawer in the on-site employee break room. Item description: a broken lamp of unremarkable make. If any attempts towards fixing it is made, the item will proceed to revert itself back to its damaged state through unknown means. Date of recovery: April 6, 2019. Location of recovery: Seneca Landfill, Pennsylvania, U.S. Current status: in storage. Item description: a 3.9 kilogram calico cat, Felis catus, that, when vocalizing, does not produce the expected sounds, but rather human imitations thereof. Meow is the most common. Others include murr, ert, and mrow. Although the cat is female, the human voice is very low in pitch, resembling that of singer Barry White. Purring is unaffected. Testing revealed no other anomalous properties. Date of recovery: June 30th, 2017. Location of recovery: animal shelter in London, Ontario, Canada. Current status: low security animal containment unit at Site 17. Item description: an AKM assault rifle chambered in 7.62 by 39 mm with no discernible serial number. Testing has shown that it can accept all magazines compatible with the platform. Rifle would not fire when being used by any user whose nationality is outside of the Warsaw Pact countries, including individuals whose country is modeled on the communist system. When being fired by an individual who meets the criteria, The rifle would function as normal. Date of recovery, May 18th, 1977. Location of recovery, decrepit warehouse near the port of New York. Found sitting on top of an empty steamer truck among other unclaimed cargo by Foundation field agents doing a routine check of the area. Current status, formerly stored in Site Security Weapons Locker at Site 38, currently destroyed in 1979 along with a cache of small arms captured from the Chaos Insurgency. Note, the only guy that was able to fire this thing was the supply truck driver Raphael from Logistics, who immigrated to the United States from Uzbekistan. He had never fired a gun in his life. We showed him all the stances and everything, but it all went out the window when he pulled the trigger. The recoil from the entire mag emptying made him stumble and drop it. We forgot to set the thing to semi-auto. Luckily nobody was hurt, but Dr. Flighton wasn't amused. Researcher Fenderson, June 23, 1977. Item description, a 5.4 centimeter ceramic figurine of the character Flupka from Quick and Flupka. The paint is slightly flaked and the initials KG are written on the base in pencil. In writing, the item can only be referred to in English. The effect does not grant proficiency with written English. An individual's command of the language directly constrains their ability to record written information about the item at all. Spoken communication is unaffected. Date of recovery, November 14th, 1989. Location of recovery, among personal effects, at hastily obtained POI redacted safe house in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Current status, standard containment locker at Site 102. Item description, a post-mount mailbox of unremarkable make belonging to no known address. When any subject above the age of 10 comes into contact with the item, it will proceed to rapidly regress their mental state to that of a newborn infant through unknown means. Date of recovery, March 9th, 2012. Location of recovery, Bikini Atoll, Marshall Islands, Pacific Ocean. Current status, data expunged. Item description, a pataphysical entity dressed in a crimson-red suit of unknown brand wearing an opaque circular glass visor. The entity is 3 feet 10 inches tall and bipedal, but has no discernible arms. It will appear behind an individual hereafter referred to as the subject that has recently translated the English word gosh to Filipino via Google Translate within minutes. The entity has been reported to laugh at the subject and call them a sussy baka before viciously maiming them with a 3-inch combat knife. It is unknown where said weapon comes from and how it manages this despite having no arms. Date of recovery, February 9th, 2021. Location of recovery, Sedgwick, Kansas. Current status, contained within a humanoid containment chamber as of writing. It is heavily recommended that Foundation personnel not translate the word gosh to Filipino via Google Translate for their own safety. Note, get out of my head, 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 get out of my head. Dr. Lance. Item description, a donut that spontaneously regenerates itself after a bite is taken from it. Date of recovery, March 11th, 2015. Location of recovery, Davenport, Iowa. Current status, lunch item in Site 19's cafeteria. Item description, a black and white photograph of a spiral pattern that will display letters of the English alphabet when viewed from a 90-degree angle and occasionally form legible words or phrases. The most commonly viewed word or phrase seen so far was unus annus, as of writing, which translated from Latin means 1 year in English. Date of recovery, November 12th, 2019. Location of recovery, Cape Elizabeth, Maine. Current status, disappeared shortly after recovery for unknown reasons. Item description, a blue ping pong ball, regulation size. Item displays mild antimatic properties when not being directly viewed. Its existence is gradually forgotten over the next 3 to 4 hours. Reminding a subject of the existence of the item halts the effect temporarily, but the effect inevitably returns. This does little more than reset the clock on the anomalous effect, in a manner of speaking. Apart from this effect, the item is non-anomalous. Date of recovery, December 12, 2012. Location of recovery, charity ping pong tournament in Cincinnati, Ohio. Current status, in the recreation area of Site 54 for use during non-working hours. Note, it is admittedly somewhat odd to add an item to this log several years after its recovery. The item was originally placed in storage where it was forgotten and rediscovered on multiple occasions. Researcher Lopez. Item description, a BMX bicycle that will stand on its own while no other forces are being applied to it. Location of recovery, at a garage sale in Firestone, Colorado. Date of recovery, March 4, 2007. Current status, housed in Dr. Redacted's garage. Item description, a sheet of standard printer paper with the logo of popular fast food chain Redacted drawn on it in black marker. Any human subject viewing the item immediately becomes hungry, regardless of how recent their last meal was, and experiences a mild compulsion to purchase food from the associated chain. This compulsion can be easily shaken off, and both effects end within 5 minutes of the item being removed from view. Location of recovery: abandoned on a park bench in Miami. Date of recovery: September 25th, 2021. Current status: and low-value item storage. Note: the bench the item was found on was within the line of sight of a restaurant belonging to the chain in question. I'd say it was a coincidence, but you never know in this line of work. Agent Thompson. Item description: an apple that is unanimously agreed to be a vegetable. Date of recovery: July 11th, 2015. Location of recovery: the Pentagon, Arlington County, Virginia. Current status: Site 111's secondary storage. Item description: a small 2.5 centimeter by 2.5 centimeter by 2.5 centimeter wooden cube with a magnetic field. Magnetic field is measured to have a similar strength to a neodymium magnet. Date of recovery: August 5th, 2019. Location of recovery: Redacted Community High School Physics Science Lab. Current status: in storage. Notes: I'm honestly not even sure what we're supposed to do with this. Sure, it's odd, but what's the point? Researcher Vance. Item description: a 16mm sound film print of the educational film Charlie Brown Clears the Air, released in 1979, with a yellowed sticker on the reel indicating that it is the property of Site 14. Testing of the film reveals no anomalous qualities. When the item is played using a compatible projector in an enclosed area, the audience will be exposed to high CO2 levels at 1,000 parts per million from an unknown origin at approximately the 1 minute 2 second mark, corresponding to the segment where Snoopy revs his motorcycle. Effect will subside at the 1 minute 23 second mark. Further CO2 levels at approximately 150 parts per million were observed from the 1 minute 35 second to 4 minute 44 second mark, with a brief spike to 250 parts per million from 4 minutes 45 seconds to 4 minutes 49 seconds, afterwards returning to 150 parts per million for the duration of Charlie Brown's presentation. Effects end during the end title card, with levels returning to normal. Date of recovery: June 10th, 2015. Location of recovery: discovered at Site 14 in a desk drawer by Dr. Plotz and Agent Griffin while refurbishing old furniture from a storage unit on their break time. Surviving records indicate that the wooden desk was previously located in the now-defunct Site 14 film repository, which was decommissioned in 2008. Current status: formerly used to calibrate CO2 detectors, currently relocated to the site history display case near the cafeteria, accompanied by a placard explaining the unique properties and history of the item. Note: use of this item for calibrating CO2 devices has been discontinued due to far more safer and efficient methods. Personnel wishing to calibrate their CO2 detector should speak to Researcher Gutierrez for further information. Dr. Plotz. Item description: a very wonderful, beautiful lamp. When anyone tries to describe said gorgeous lamp in either verbal or non-verbal form, they inadvertently mention how pretty it looks. Date of recovery: August 15th, 2020. Location of discovery: Dr. Graham's office. Current status: kept in Dr. Graham's office, where it stands in its beautiful form. Item description: a rock that forces anyone that views it to question their gender regardless of how they identify. Date of recovery: March 6th, 2021. Location of discovery: an abandoned backpack filled with other non-anomalous rocks found in Redacted, California, may be related to SCP-113. Current status: formerly on display in Dr. Nin's office, currently standard containment locker at Site Redacted. Note: gender is already confusing. I don't really need another thing making it harder for me. I recommend that all cisgender people look at this, though. Dr. Nin. Item description: a audio file of a unused ringtone intended for the HTC Magic Android phone. The ringtone itself is a 30-second loop of a ska jazz song. If the song's beats are rearranged by audio editing, the melody of the musical piece will not change, regardless of the edit's severity. Date of recovery: 7th of May, 2014. Location of recovery: and a post from www.redacted, a forum website dedicated to discovering and showing phenomena from old, unpopular smartphones. Current status: stored at Site Redacted's containment lockers in a USB flash drive. Witness is tracked and amnesticized. Item description: a red male Hypostomus plecostomus. Other than its color, it appears completely average. When placed on anything the color red, it will gain speed. The more color, the faster. When removed from the red item, it quickly slows down. Date of recovery: July 20th, 2021. Location of recovery: an aquarium store in Redacted, Iowa. Current status: contained in a 284-liter fish tank alongside several non-anomalous fish at Site Redacted. Nothing red is allowed within 3 meters of the tank. This includes other fish. Additional notes. Ooh, bloodfish, beautiful. Dr. Lily Scarlet. Item description: the carcass of an adult beluga whale, Delphinapterus lucas. Despite being recovered in 2006, the item does not appear to have advanced past stage 4 of decomposition. No other anomalous properties have been noted. Date of recovery: August 25th, 2006. Location of recovery: a breach in Sakhalin, Russia. Current status: kept in cold storage at Site 77. Note: Eck. Disgusting. Dr. Clyde. Item description: a banana that can shoot bullets. It is unknown where these bullets come from. Date of recovery: February 10th, 2011. Location of recovery: a grocery store in Montana. Current status: contained in a 24-centimeter thick glass box and site redacted. Notes: the item doesn't seem to run out. Item description: a 1990 Suzuki Samurai that, whenever observed directly, will appear to be a stick of butter. Testing reveals that subjects can interact with the car as if it were a stick of butter rather than a car. Date of recovery: September 8th, 2001. Location of recovery: redacted, Indianapolis. Notes: took us forever to figure out what the owner of the store was talking about. Dr. Black. Item description: a copy of Compton's Encyclopedia, and a text describing it is made through digital writing. With a device connected to the internet, every word except functors will become hyperlinks to Wikipedia pages that are either respective to that word and or relevant to the word's definition. Date of recovery: October 20th, 2021. Location of recovery: University of Central Florida's Libraries, Orlando, Florida, United States of America, where it was bought by SCP Foundation personnel Dr. Crooks before discovery of anomalous effect. Current status: formerly in storage. Currently, see update. Update. After the discovery of the SCP Foundation Wikipedia article, which is not accessible through common search on the website, the object has been given to the Department of Pataphysics and the Department of Unreality for more study. Reclassification of this log to level 5/Cosmic Top Secret is pending. Item description: a baseball that, when thrown at advertisements of any type, renders the advertisement blank. Quote, AWCY ? Unquote, is stitched into it. Date of recovery: October 30th, 2021. Location of recovery: the redacted stadium in redacted. Current status: in storage. Notes: the item is believed to be the work of the group of interest Are We Cool Yet? Item description: a heavily damaged analog stopwatch with a singular button that, when pressed, starts the clock feature despite it having already been started an unknown number of times. The minute and second hand are in the correct position for each time despite being singular objects, and any specific time or times currently being tracked by the clock can be observed simultaneously, though attempting to view all times at once leads to nearly the entire clock face being obscured. Disassembly and reassembly has no effect on the item's properties. Date of recovery: November 3rd, 2021. Location of recovery: among several items left at a homeless shelter in Los Angeles, California. Current status: button mechanism removed. Mechanism and remainder of item held in separate object storage lockers. Item description: a standardized Blue Army helmet with the letters UN painted on both sides, typically used by UN infantry units. When worn by a person, they can only be referred to as a blue helmet or a blue helmet unit when being spoken about verbally. This effect is applied to the wearer, and when not being worn, the object compels those in the direct line of sight to wear the object. Date of recovery: June 1st, 1948. Location of recovery: sent to the Foundation via P.O. Box from the UNHQ in NY. All officials, including Secretary General Antonio Guterres, denied having sent the object. Current status: in low-grade anomalous storage. Note: I think it's kind of funny, but Dr. Richter was not happy when he found that thing in a package on his deck the day we recovered it. He isn't fully convinced the UN is innocent in this situation, but he's not authorized to send out agents to investigate. Thank God, he could be such a stuck-up. Researcher Reyes. Second note: Researcher Reyes is currently being reviewed to see if he is still capable of his position after an inquiry from an anonymous Foundation staff member. Automated message. Item description: a physical copy of Carnivores for PC. Despite only having the files needed to run Carnivores, the game will open as its sequel, Carnivores 2. The game plays as normal with no other anomalous effects. Date of recovery: August 5th, 2002. Location of recovery: a thrift store in Redacted, New Jersey. Current status: in the site Redacted Break Room. Item description: an SCP document tape that, when viewed, makes the person viewing confused. The tape is shown below. Date of recovery, May 3rd, 2020. Location of recovery, redacted. Current status, kept in a containment locker in Site 91. Item description, an 18-inch rock that immediately will grow moss pointing towards any location where any human marks the name of the location on the rock, usually with a smaller rock or a chalky substance. Date of recovery, June 24th, year redacted. Location of recovery, northeastern Canada, specifically redacted. Current status, site redacted, low security storage room. Item description, a small wind-up Santa doll made out of plastic with a crank made out of brass. When wound up, the object will exclaim, "Ho ho ho," like his counterpart, attempt to break into homes and steal items of value and place them in other households. It should be noted during any apocalypse scenario, the object will remove the coat it wears and manifest a functioning, doll-sized light machine gun of undetermined make. They will then fire on persons who act like or have support to the idea of anarchism, or persons undergoing a viral infection if such exists, such as SCP-08. Wind-up lasts for 24 hours, excluding the winter months, of which winding up will extend it through the whole season. Date of recovery, December 26, 1997. Location of recovery, a household in San Francisco, California. The subject had snuck inside and was attempting to seize a toy train. Current status, unknown. Escaped containment after a D-Class managed to seize the object and wind it. Item description, a set of 15 dumbbells, each weighing 15 pounds. When picked up, the weights on the dumbbell will start turning different colors despite being made of pure steel. Each weight has engraved letters reading, "Need a switch from your old name brand redacted weights? Well, do we have the solution for you? Kobayashi Athletics Dance Dumbbells." Date of recovery, July 12, 2015. Location of recovery, Site 82. Current status, in the break room of Site 82. Note, at the time of discovery, we had the exact same brand of weights engraved on those dumbbells. We also discovered that multiple staff had lost money from their wallets. In total, the lost money added up to $150. Researcher vowed. Item description, a group of 3 levitating blue plastic beach balls. Each ball has the ability to produce sounds of various species in the Cetacea order at random intervals. The sound produced by the balls originates from an unknown source. The sounds have a mimetic effect on anyone who has heard it. They will refer to the balls as cute or adorable. All beach balls have a note titled Cetacean Orbs by redacted. Date of recovery, November 1st, 2021. Location of recovery, a storage room in a dolphinarium in Pattaya City, Thailand. It was discovered after the balls are used as props in a dolphin show. Current status, stored in a storage room in Site Deltafin, Department of Cetacean Research and Containment. Note, the date in the date of recovery section is in the day-month-year format, and please don't play with it. And not being an SCP didn't mean it shouldn't be contained. Dr. Days Before Months. Additional note, Dr. Days Before Months will be promoted to head researcher of SCP redacted. The reason for promotion is your great point about writing Days Before Months. Site Deltafin Director, Department of Cetacean Research and Containment. Item description, a Bosch diamond core electric drill. Objects being bored by it will spin at the same direction and speed of the drill bit as if they were struck. Size, weight, and density do not change this phenomenon, and any obstructions will always be pushed or destroyed. The longer the object is spun, the higher the chance of it being launched out of the drill bit. Date of recovery, 2021, 12th of November. Location of recovery, Site 78's Technical Workshop. Current status, neutralized. See related test log. Item description, a small porcelain tea set. When a human touches it, they become aware of their true gender identity. However, the Department of Metaphysics has confirmed that this effect does not occur from the individual's own perspective. Any person can only witness others utilize its anomalous properties and receive a result. See attachment 07833B, Many Worlds Hypothesis, for more information. Date of recovery, December 3rd, 2007. Location of recovery, abandoned apartment in Brooklyn, New York. Current status, in storage. Testing requires Metaphysics Department approval. Item description, Containment Chamber 17 in Wing A of Site 517. Item is completely mundane, however, there appears to be an ongoing rumor among site staff that it is anomalous. Furthermore, some personnel, including high-ranking senior staff, have expressed concern that the item will be capable of causing an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario in the near future. These rumors are not the result of any mimetic effect, and repeated scans of the chamber have yielded nothing of note. Despite this, the item has been given an anomalous item designation for the time being. Date of recovery, March 3rd, 2003. Location of recovery, Site 517. Current status, still connected to Site 517. Item is not currently in use. Item description: a portrait of a young woman with a painting style reminiscent of the 70s. When a subject walks through the portrait, they will be transported exactly 15 years into the past, to a location of personal significance to them. Actions performed in the past follow the Novikov self-consistency principle. Past events that subject attempts to avert will happen anyways, often because of the attempted aversion. Date of recovery: September 12, 1992. Location of recovery: abandoned storage locker in Chicago, Ohio. Signs of recent habitation were present, along with a note saying, "I miss you, I just want to be with you again." Current status: formerly in storage, currently presumed destroyed following the decommissioning of SCP, redacted D. Item description: a wireless flat-screen television. Regardless of original content, all humans displayed on the screen appear identical to prominent American actor Christopher Pratt. Animated or non-human characters are not affected visually but are audibly identical to Pratt. Date of recovery: 12th of redacted year 2022. Location of recovery: warehouse belonging to an unknown and potentially anomalous marketing company. Object was connected to a laptop computer containing a copy of Adobe Photoshop, as well as a Bing Images tab containing images of Pratt. Current status: in storage. Object can be requisitioned for any site break room. This has yet to occur. Item description: potted ficus plant, slightly larger than usual. Appears non-anomalous upon inspection, and testing has yet to reveal any anomalous property. However, the location it was found in has no record of the plant being acquired at any point in its history. Those present at the location claim the plant has always been there. However, available surveillance camera videos show the plant was acquired at some point between 5 and 6 years ago. Even those who have been working at the location since before this point have no recollection of a time when the plant was not present, and will mention the plant when describing their memories of the past. Date of recovery: December 21st, 2021. Location of recovery: office building belonging to Sapling and Imagery Data Systems, which was later discovered not to exist. Extensive searches of all available databases provided no results. Use of publicly available search engines such as Google or Bing also provides no results. Current status: being considered for potential SCP designation. Research into the non-existent company Sapling and Imagery is continuing. Item description: a small instructional booklet titled Easy Jazz Chords for Beginners, which claims to display guitar fingerings for jazz music easy for anyone to perform. Pages showing the title and publishing information are missing, apparently having been torn out by hand. Actually following the instructions requires movements that are either impossible for human anatomy or cannot be performed in 3 dimensions. Those reading the booklet and following the instructions are generally confident in their ability to play the chords described, regardless of their skill at playing the guitar or level of familiarity with the instrument. This does not grant the ability to perform the impossible movements. Date of recovery: December 26th, 2021. Location of recovery: a thrift store in Twin Falls, Idaho. Current status: in low-value item storage. Item description: a Victorian-era top hat that, when worn, causes the individual wearing it to talk in 1800s-era English with a British accent, regardless of their prior familiarity with the English language or its Victorian-era counterpart. Upon removal, the individual will return to speaking how they normally do. Date of recovery: redacted year 2002. Location of recovery: Museum of London, England. Current status: currently inside 447's anomalous item storage vault. Item description: a deck of cards containing the bound soul of the hostile Tartarian entity, redacted Baal, redacted Lord of Chaos. The entity will be released if another deck of cards is ever in the same order. Date of recovery: redacted year 1911. Location of recovery: Las Vegas, Nevada. Current status: item has been randomly shuffled and is currently in long-term secure storage at Site 45, as the chances of any given shuffle creating the same order are around 1 in 8 times 10 to the 67th. No special containment procedures are necessary. Item description: a Japanese kimono dress that, if worn with the right side covering the left side, will cause a near instantaneous shutdown of all brain function in the individual wearing it, effectively killing them. Date of recovery: January 1st, 2022. Location of recovery: Yamagata, Japan. Current status: stored in a low-risk containment chamber in Site 18. Item description: a golden Bengoshi Kisho attorney's badge of Japan that, when worn, causes the wearer to have an innate urge to show it to everyone they see. Date of recovery: November 1st, 2022. Location of recovery: redacted Pawn Shop, Florida. Current status: attached to a lanyard in Dr. Laz's office. Note: okay, but does anyone want to see it? It's really cool looking and I think you'd like it. Dr. Laz. Item description: 4 Hylophorus acropia lanao, North American Cecropia moth, specimens, with a tense coloration that will occasionally make candid vocalizations. No other anomalies are present. Date of recovery, March 4th, 2014. Location of recovery, at Lepidoptera Reserve in redacted Colorado, USA. Current status, 3 specimens have died due to aging. The 4th has been preserved in low-risk cryogenic containment at Site 62, at the object supervisor's request. Note: the first anomaly I ever worked with. I was the only one who kept any interest in them, so they made me its supervisor. Sorry to get sentimental on official documentation, but hey, times are changing. Dr. Saturn. Item description: a hairbrush that, when used, infuses positive and soothing messages into the subject's mind, relieving stress and negative thoughts. Date of recovery, January 31st, 2022. Location of recovery. The object was put up on sale by Zinnia Reese, age 82. The object was retrieved from redacted Florida at an apartment complex. The former owner made no comment on the entity except that it helped her a lot when she was younger, and to use it well. Current status, in storage. Item description: a sentient blue exercise ball, capable of mobility by rolling and possessing the personality and intelligence level of a domesticated canine. Date of recovery, July 18th, 2021. Location of recovery, outside a popular gym in New York City. The entity came to life immediately after being bought and inflated, escaping into the streets and causing numerous minor car accidents, as well as confusion among pedestrians. Amnesics were distributed upon recovery. Current status, formerly housed in a low-level management containment cell, currently accidentally deflated during a containment breach on November 3rd, 2021. When reinflated, the entity showed no signs of life or previous anomalous properties. Reclassified as neutralized and donated to a nearby gym. Item description: a white water bottle which contains a mysterious, harmless black liquid that tastes like almond milk. Date of recovery, February 1st, 2022. Location of recovery, a refrigerator in a famous hotel located in Los Angeles, California. The owner said that it's been there for years and that it has become a staple of the hotel. Current status, and a vault and site redacted. Note: my first day in the Foundation, and this is the first thing I test on. The almond taste would forever be in my mouth. Dr. Rogers. Item description: a pair of Ray-Ban trademark Nomad sunglasses that, upon any subject's first attempt to wear said sunglasses, causes the subject to involuntarily place the sunglasses on their face upside down. Previous wearers show no issue wearing them normally on future attempts. Date of recovery, January 28th, 2022. Location of recovery, displayed for sale at an America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses store in redacted Texas. Current status, in storage. Item description: a small painting decapitating a green-haired woman sitting in a forest. The woman is leaning her back against a tree while 4 small winged humanoids float around her. Several large humanoid creatures can be seen in the background. Upon first viewing the painting, all individual will, without exception, feel compelled to describe how appealing they find the painting to be, often describing it as terrific, gorgeous, magnificent, beautiful, and most commonly, very pretty. Date of recovery, May 26th, 2019. Location of recovery, data expunged. Current status, Site 1 storage vault. Note: it is very pretty. 05 redacted. Item description: a paper-made ink pen that will teleport from its current location at random, usually after at least a week of staying within one place at a time. Date of recovery, October 25th, 2019. Current status, unknown. Note: sometimes it just appears back at a containment site. We use it as a normal pen since it functions as one. Then it disappears again, not to be seen for however long. Item description: a Juul brand vapor pen with endless vapor juice. The juice flavoring will change at random every hour. An anomalous phenomenon occurs when a subject smokes a Juul and proceeds to tell every person in their surroundings to fuck off. Continued smoking will result in the user developing a heavy English accent and continuing to add more profanity to the aforementioned statement. After ceasing smoking, the user will gain the ability to masterfully wield steel when given the proper tools and equipment. Date of recovery, August 2nd, 2022. Location of discovery, Birmingham, United Kingdom. Current status, kept in a locked drawer at Site 73. Note: is this funny to you? Site Assistant Director Desmond. Item description: medium-sized analog wall clock with no brand name visible. If the hands are moved so the clock no longer shows the correct time, they will reset themselves. All attempts to prevent them from doing so have met with failure. Those involved in the attempt describe a steadily increasing level of force acting upon the clock's hands, which rapidly exceeds that which the clock's internal components should be physically capable of generating. Date of recovery, September 2nd, 2022. Location of recovery, yard sale in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Current status, on the wall in Dr. Blanchett's office. Item description, plain blue t-shirt, adult size, medium. Anyone putting on the shirt will inevitably put it on inside out, not realizing they have done so unless this fact is mentioned by someone else. If the wearer tries to pay close attention while putting on the shirt, some form of random occurrence will break their concentration. Date of recovery, September 2nd, 2022. Location of recovery, a clothing store in Ontario, Canada. Current status, in low-value item storage. Item description, a digital cinema projector. Anytime a movie is projected from it, the viewers will have a strong craving for a stereotypical movie theater food and or drink. Date of recovery, June 26th, 2019. Location of recovery, a movie theater in Boston, Massachusetts. Current status, in storage. Item description, a shirt with the letters Benvenuto in Italica, Welcome to Italica, with the Colosseum and the Leaning Tower of Pisa in the background. Whenever writing or describing said shirt, a person can only type/write in italics. Date of recovery, September 20th, 2013. Location of recovery, an empty Amazon warehouse in Redacted, Georgia. Current status, currently in the wardrobe of Assistant Director Dr. Giulietta of Site 453. Note, what can I say? I like the shirt. I wear it on casual Fridays. Site 453's Assistant Director, Dr. Giulietta. Item description, a worn-out 2020 white New Vice Miami Heat jersey of Tyler Johnson that, when worn, will take you to an NBA game Tyler Johnson is currently participating in. It is to note the shirt's anomalous properties won't happen if the person wearing the shirt isn't called Johnson. The first, middle, last, or nickname will trigger the effect, or if Tyler Johnson isn't currently playing a game. It is to note that this is a 2020 shirt discovered in 2015. Maybe somebody traveled back in time. Henry Celeb of the Digitization Department. Date of recovery, February 8th, 2015. Location of recovery, locker room of American Airlines Arena. Current status, on Dr. Johnson Gustavo's dorm room in Site 453. Update, as of February 6th, 2019, Tyler Johnson moved to the Phoenix Suns. Testing is to undergo to see if the shirt's capabilities still work. Update 2, February 7th, 2019. The shirt's capabilities do still work and do transport people to Tyler's games. Item description, a Space Jam themed basketball. When a person 35 years or younger perceives it, they will see a Space Jam New Legacy 2021 themed ball, while a person older will perceive a Space Jam 1996 themed ball. Said anomaly is said to be a cognitohazard. Date of recovery, October 24th, 2021. Location of recovery, lost and found in the Redacted Middle School in Florida, USA. Current status, at low-level containment zone in Site 453. Item description, a large cage measuring 2 meters by 2 meters by 3 meters. When entered by an individual, the said individual will transform into a non-anomalous house finch, a Morus mexicanus. Exiting the cage will not revert the transformation. Date of recovery, February 21st, 2017. Location of recovery, an apartment in Redacted, California, USA. Current status, in anomalous storage. Item description, a standard reusable water bottle fills to the brim with a mixture of water and soap. The bottom of the object is covered in small shards of glass, seaweed, and pebbles. The inner sides are lined with rough red fabric. The contents of the bottle are incapable of exiting or being removed. When opened, the object emits a stream of white fog and starts producing a repeated message mostly consisting of incomprehensible gurgling or static. Date of recovery, July 5th, 2019. Location of recovery, washed up on the shores of a deserted beach in Florida, USA, shortly after a storm. Current status, in storage. Item description, a Yorkshire Terrier that has a mimetic effect that causes individuals to loudly exclaim, "God damn it, Zeke," when viewing it for the first time. The subject displays no other anomalous qualities. Date of recovery, the 11th of Redacted, year 2019. Location of recovery, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Current status, in standard animal containment at Site 70. Notes, apparently it was discovered after it walked into a large crowd of people. God damn it, Zeke. Dr. Dino. Item description, a 6-pack of Tangerine LaCroix that actually tastes good. Date of recovery, March 13th, 2024. Location of recovery, Davy Jules Jr.'s desk. Current status, completely drank by Dr. Davy Jules Jr. Is this just a joke? Margaret Yasent, Digitization Department. Item description: a paper and cardboard sign slightly larger than a standard sheet of printer paper. The word "guilty" has been written on the sign in black permanent marker in the center of a drawing featuring eyes looking at the viewer with what has been described as judgment and disapproval. The item is a mild cognito hazard. Anyone viewing the image will experience feelings of guilt and shame, even if there is no reason for such emotions. Date of recovery, March 3rd, 2022. Location of recovery: on the wall of a high school principal's office in Camden, New Jersey. Current status: in low-value item storage. The principal in question claimed to have inherited the item from his immediate predecessor, who was known to have retired in the early 90s. Nobody could remember that sign not being on the wall. Just how long has this thing been right under our noses? Agent Kevin Popov. Item description: a keychain featuring an image of the Statue of Liberty that cannot be lost. The most recent person to touch it will know its exact location, regardless of how much distance separates them from it. If it is taken from them by or given to another person, the effect on the second most recent person to touch the item will gradually fade over 12 hours. Date of recovery, September 3rd, 2022. Location of recovery: under the counter in an abandoned storefront, Greer, Alabama. Current status: in the possession of researcher Eileen Jacobs, to counteract her tendency to lose her keys on a fairly regular basis. Item description: a collection of 13 sentient toy soldiers. Date of recovery, July 31st, 2009. Location of discovery: in a toy store in Austin, Texas, United States. Current status: stored in a flat facility in Area 21. Item description: a waterbed mattress. During the night, if the mattress is filled with water, all frogs in a 50-meter radius will begin to move towards it and attempt to sleep on it, regardless of their normal activity patterns. Frogs wake up and disperse at sunrise. When recovered, deposits of algae and mud were found inside the mattress, indicating it was previously filled with pond or river water. Date of recovery, August 17th, 2009. Location of recovery: yard sale in Winona, Mississippi, United States. Current status: deflated and in storage. Item description: a car that completely regenerates itself after being destroyed. Date of recovery, December 1st, 2004. Location of recovery: in a junkyard in San Bruno, California, United States. Current status: in anomalous storage in Area 21. Storage. Item description: a collection of 4 Thompson submachine guns that, when held, human subjects will become deranged and report several auditory hallucinations. Date of recovery, February 26th, 2005. Location of recovery: Milwaukee, Wisconsin, United States. Current status: stored in a flat facility in Area 21. Item description: a shirt that changes color every 5 to 6 hours. Date of recovery, June 14th, 2014. Location of recovery: Tampa, Florida, United States. Current status: in anomalous storage in Area 21. Item description: an ordinary USB 2.0 to USB microphone charging cord stretching 36 inches in length. Users attempting to charge cell phone devices experience immense difficulty in inserting the USB micro into its designated USB port regardless of the user's precision. Users often succeed upon their 7th attempt of doing so. All of the functions of the object appear to be non-anomalous. Date of recovery, April 9th, 2015. Location of recovery, redacted Barrie, Ontario, Canada. Current status: in possession of Dr. Redacted. Notes: dude, you gotta get a new charger. Agent Redacted, January 3rd, 2016. Constituent descriptional: anomalous attribution, amaranthine tetrapodal, asteroidal affiliation, anthology inhibited, difficulty modulating, syllabizing tetrawording, structural additionally. Antiquated acquirement, Gregorian overpreside, April 4th, 2007. Environment acquirement, considerable accomplishment, aquarium Alejandro, saturated apparatus. Customary environment, exceptional variety, aquamarine biologic saturated apparatus, circumscription realization site 62 happenstantial. Item description: human ear made of plastic with prongs designed to fit into a standard 120-volt electrical outlet. Anyone holding the item shows no signs of being affected by loud sounds. The letters AWCY are visible on the outer surface. Date of recovery, March 30th, 2022. Location of recovery, Houston, Texas. Current status: in storage. Item description: an MP3 player that only plays Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. When subject listens to the song from the item, they develop severe nyctophobia and scopophobia. Date of recovery: May 11th, 1992. Location of recovery: redacted. Current status: in storage. Item description: small leather-bound book written in unknown pictographic language. Any human subject viewing the text becomes convinced that they can decipher it and immediately searches for things to write with to begin doing so. This is a cognitohazardous effect and occurs for all subjects regardless of linguistic skill. As long as the book is open to reveal the text and in the subject's line of sight, the effect continues. If the book is closed or removed from line of sight, the effect rapidly wears off over the next 10 seconds. Date of recovery: April 4th, 2022. Location of recovery: second-hand store in Cleveland, Ohio. Current status: formerly in storage, currently in a locked vault. Note: after several incidents, Dr. Jack Bright is no longer allowed to access this item. However harmless they might appear, anomalous items are not toys. 057. Item description: a standard 5-star brand book trapper capable of containing 6 pounds more than its structure would normally be able to hold before breaking. Date of recovery: August 5th, 2007. Location of recovery: the state of Minnesota, St. Paul, inside of a southern high school. Current status: in storage. Notes: all staff are permitted use of the item. Item description: a painting depicting a filled wine glass on an abstract background. Attempts to paint over the wine glass will result in no change. The added paint dissipates. Other areas of the painting show no anomalous behavior. Date of recovery: April 3rd, 2022. Location of recovery: art studio in Redacted, Florida. Current status: hung as a decorative piece in Dr. Daniels' office. Notes: the paint outside of the wine glass is noticeably thicker than the rest. It's likely this was painted over multiple times. Dr. Daniels. Item description: small booklet entitled Learn to Draw the Easy Way. Contains several lessons, all more complex than they appear. Some of the lessons instruct the reader to perform movements either not possible for human anatomy or not possible in 3 dimensions. Despite this, any reader will become fairly competent at drawing by following the lessons. Impossible techniques will be performed without incident. Date of recovery: April 16th, 2022. Location of recovery: home of Bradley Evans, an art student with suspected connections to several known artists. Current status: in storage. Note: the owner of the home was not found at the time of recovery and has been declared a person of interest.